headlines in the world of sports, pop culture, and business, then I answer your phone calls and respond to your tweets. You'll hear my unfiltered opinions and straight-shooter interviews with top celebrities and game changers. All that and more. So listen to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast. Just start listening.
ESPN Asheville is WPEK W225CJ Fairview, WMFX Waynesville, an iHeart radio station, the exclusive audio home of NBC's coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympics.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Bonus. That's bonus. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com.
Live from the Ingalls studio.
I can't wait to play with myself every day.
The Sportsocracy.
Damn the devil to hell! Let the big dogs eat! Let them on the field!
Come get you some of this.
Fire them cannons! By golly, put more powder in those things.
He couldn't take any more disappointment.
Oh, my God. The Jets killed him.
And a welcome into the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy, heard everywhere you go on the iHeart Radio app, seen everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel, and that way you can join us in the chat each and every day. I'm Tank Spencer, live from the Ingalls studio. Jeremy, at home once again in Mullet Manor, ready for another day of rankings in the NFL, position by position rankings. We'll focus on secondaries today. We did defensive linemen yesterday. If you missed any of that, you can always go back and check it out on the podcast or go back on the YouTubes and watch yesterday's episode. Jeremy, you and I both have players at the top of both of the rankings today in the position groups, safeties and corners. We will debate entire top 13 lists as the position-by-position breakdowns continue. I know you're just shocked and awed and terrified by the display that the soccer community put on at Bank of America Stadium last night. Did you check out that fracas?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Are you serious? You didn't hear about this?
No.
Oh, man. The Colombians went full Carolina Panther fan last night at the Copa America at Bank of America Stadium.
I don't know what that means.
Well, you know how every year we have those fan fight videos coming from the nosebleeds there at Bank of America Stadium.
I mean, that would not be the first thing I would have thought you were talking about there, but
what?
I don't know that I've ever seen a fan fight video from Bank of America.
Seriously?
Oh, I've seen them from a lot of places. You also got to remember, you're talking to a Jets fan. You ever been to a Jets game? Because I have. No. That turns into UFC fight night pretty quick. Especially if you're dumb enough to bring a car to our stadium that has a different team's logo on it.
Yeah.
That bad boy's going to end up covered in bologna.
Yeah. Anyway, it was quite the ending to the soccer match last night. I
did see somebody said something to the effect of, keep this sport away from the Americans. And I, for one, that is a cause I can believe in. You just take it wherever you want to. I don't care. This is how bad I am. I didn't know they were playing this in America until this morning.
Wow. Okay.
Had no clue.
Yep. Big old blinders on for that.
Yeah, soccer is one of those sports. You're just not going to get me. I don't care. There is a hubris with soccer fans that I have never understood. If you want to love it, that's fine. Don't call me an idiot because I call our football, which is football, football. Okay? Mm-hmm. I don't have anything else to call it. So, But we play ours with a foot. Yeah, I get that. It's also why I don't care.
It's fair enough. It's not an American game.
It's not my thing. It's never going to be.
And it's it has grown exponentially, gotten a lot of people interested in America. It's like hockey. I'm more apt to get into hockey before I am getting into soccer, and I'm still way far away from getting into hockey.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like hockey. It's just, okay, let me see if maybe I can explain this. If you told me there was a sport where you couldn't use your feet and you were just stationary and it was throwing a ball back and forth, I wouldn't want to watch that either. The Almighty gave us 2 foots and 2 hands to be athletic. Okay? So you take 2 of those away and I'm good.
Well, you can use your hands, but only in certain positions.
Yep, don't care.
Yep, don't care. They had 12 players get up into the stands. Full Malice at the Palace last night. It was crazy. Crazy stuff.
That is insane, but I'll be honest with you, with soccer, it doesn't even surprise me anymore.
No, it shouldn't. It should not surprise you at all. We will be doing position-by-position breakdowns or continuing those later on today, talking corners and safeties in the NFL.
I have a new conspiracy theory that I'm just all about that we will talk about later in this hour.
Okay. Interesting. Your boy got picked up. Jamal Adams is going to Nashville.
Woo!
You got a place to stay now when you go out to Nashville to see Creed.
It will not be with Jamal Adams.
He'll let you stay with him.
I bet he won't.
Yeah,
he's not a.
He might be the only. You might be the only fan he has left.
I think in the right scenario, he could still be a useful piece.
Mm-hmm.
You told me a stat before the show that he hadn't had a sack in 4 years.
No, not since 2020.
I mean, it's hard for a guy who built his career on that you take that out of the arsenal, which Seattle, they tried. Then you mix in injuries, and it was just a disaster.
Yeah. I mean, it was the last 4 years of his career have pretty much been like a sad story.
Well, the way he got his way out of New York, I must say I don't have that much sympathy for you.
Well, no. I mean, your team benefited greatly.
Oh, yeah. Does anybody see the irony that the Seattle Seahawks have been on both sides of the 2 worst trades of the last 5 years? The Jets just robbed them blind on Jamal Adams, and then they robbed the Denver Broncos blind on Russell Wilson.
That is true.
I could make the argument that's the two of the top 5 worst trades in the history of sports.
Yeah, ooh. They gave up 2 first-round draft picks.
Ooh, that feels
Jamal
like
Adams.
A daily draft. We didn't talk about that beforehand because Jamal Adams got signed right before we went on the air.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, worst trades in the history of sports. That feels like a daily draft topic.
Okay, we can add it to the list. Let me write it down before I forget.
It's bad that we've both gotten so old that you rushed to write it down on pen and paper and I rushed to put it in the chat so we didn't forget it.
Hey, I will instantly forget things. People will hear you tell me things right before the segment starts in the YouTube chat, and I will just completely forget to bring it up.
We are basically
seconds.
2 dementia patients that are sitting here talking to each other. It's almost like we're a 2024 presidential debate on your radio every single day.
Good for you. Good for you. We can get to see that on full display again tonight. I can't wait.
With a big boy press conference.
A big boy press conference where he's actually going to have to answer questions. For those of you who want the political side of that, tune in tomorrow morning, 570 WWNC. First News on 570 with Mark Starling. We'll be covering that in depth, the big boy press conference with the president tonight. Jamal Adams going to the Tennessee Titans. And, I mean, I get the guy's played like 14 games in the last 3 years or something. It's not been great. In a 4-year period for the Seattle Seahawks, he could have played in 67 regular season games. He missed 33 of those opportunities due to injuries and such. I remember the gap between 2 of the injuries was terrible. Like, he missed the entire season. I think he played 1 game. Or he was injured the season before, came back for 1 game, got hurt immediately again.
That was against the Giants this past year.
Right. And you're just, I mean, I feel for the guy. I really do. He's got all the talent as a, up in the box, run stuffer, sack kind of guy. And he just hasn't been available for his team. But this is kind of I don't know. Depending on how much you spent on this, I haven't seen a number attached to the talks here with the Tennessee Titans. But depending on how much you had to spend for this, that's kind of a no-risk play.
Well, I mean, and then you just look at what Tennessee is building defensively. I saw Rich Eisen basically said, don't sleep on the Tennessee Titans. I agree with him. I'm looking up and down this roster going, do you realize how much better this team is than they were 1 year ago?
On what positions?
Every position on defense.
Just every position?
Every single one of them on defense. You added Calvin Ridley in place of Nick Westbrook-Akina, and you got Tyler Boyd in the slot. The offensive line will be better solely because you don't – I was about to say you don't have a right tackle playing left tackle, but you do. It's J.C. Latham. I'll never understand how that's so hard for people to figure out, but it is. The line will be better solely because it was absolutely god-awful last year.
Right.
And now you know who the starter is going into the season. So, I mean, I'm just looking at the roster on the whole. I don't need Jamal Adams to be a starter. If he is, he takes the spot of Elijah Molden, who then slides into more of a slot Brian Branch, C.J. Gardner-Johnson role. And I could even see Jamal Adams playing some of that. You add that to Arden Key and Harold Landry and Jeffrey Simmons, you should be able to get after a quarterback.
Yes.
And you have Chidobe Awuzie and L'Jarius Sneed on the outside. With Roger McCreary in the slot. I mean, the defense is good. The offense is a question mark because I don't know what your quarterback is. I know what I think he is.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way about Tennessee that I do about Vegas. You have several pieces of your team that I really, really like. If you could bring the two together, you'd have a hell of a team. The problem would be you wouldn't have one quarterback amongst all of them, or at least a proven one.
Well, I mean,
I know you like Gardner, but
I like Gardner. I like Will Levis.
But he's
quarterbacks are not proven until you give them the opportunity to be proven.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to break this to you, about half the league has quarterbacks that are unproven. This is the way it is. I mean, if you hit on Will Levis, which based on the way I evaluated him coming into this league, what you have put around him, and the little bit that I saw from him last year, I have no reason to believe that he can't be a top 20-ish guy in this league. I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm drafting in the Scott Fish Bowl on Saturday. There is virtually no shot Will Levis doesn't end up on my roster somewhere.
Right.
Superflex, I got to play two quarterbacks. There is virtually no shot I don't have him because everybody hates him.
I was gonna say in like a best ball scenario, which all of these leagues are. You know, you look at guys who can win you weeks, and with the amount of weapons that he has at his disposal, I could see him winning a couple of weeks, or at least being in the top 24 quarterbacks several weeks out of the year.
He had a couple really good games. One of them was the first one he played against Atlanta in Week 8. That Atlanta defense was not bad, and he carved it up like a Thanksgiving turkey. He did the same thing to the Miami Dolphins. That's enough for me to go into this year and go, that's a hell of a lot better than anything I saw out of Malik Willis, and it's better than anything I've seen out of Ryan Tannehill in the last 3 years.
They definitely do not have a better option in-house. I'm all good with you riding this, riding this wave. Let's see what we got. You did exactly what you needed to do and improve the blocking in front of him, give him better weapons, stop making, Nick Westbrook-Akina his number 2 option. And now you have all of that. I mean, his connection with DeAndre Hopkins was just fine last year.
Mm-hmm.
And if he can develop that or continue to have that and develop a rapport with Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd is your 3, you got an opportunity to put up some big numbers. I just wonder about the turnovers with him is the only thing I wonder about. If that's going to be his biggest problem once he gets established in the league.
Well, I mean, it's a common problem of younger players.
Mm-hmm.
Last year No, you say that. Why did you say that way? Just because he's a young guy, or because there's anything he's done that makes you think that's going to be a problem?
No, not necessarily. It's just that he's young.
Because I'm looking at last year. He played 9 games. He turned it over 6 times.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's not bad. I can get down with that.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen, I think, did that in a half one time.
He did.
Trevor Lawrence, I'm positive, did that in a half one time. And then came back to win.
A playoff game.
So, I guess that's where I'm at, is if you take any preconceived bias out of the way you look at the Tennessee Titans, and I'm not talking about the schedule. The schedule's evil. Tennessee's schedule is one of those things I just look at and go, who did you hurt and how? Because that is evil. But if you take your preconceived notions on Will Levis out, you take your preconceived notions out on Jamal Adams, what you got out of Chidobe Awuzie last year, all of that, you just look at the talent on paper, there is no reason that team can't be good. I was trying to decide if I want to say good or great. Good feels like one that's not going to come back to bite me in the keister.
Yeah, good's definitely a safe zone to be in. Because what's your definition of good? Is it just we're competitive and we're close in games?
That team was awful last year.
I'm on board.
You will be significantly better than that.
Yes.
First year of a new head coach, you have an actual offensive head coach. I think you're going to have an offensive identity. I really like what Brian Callahan did with Joe Burrow. And now I've got a really big quarterback with a big arm, and I've got 2 wide receivers that are legit. Mm-hmm. Legit number 1 type receivers. There's not many teams in this league I can say that about. There are very few teams I can say have 2 top 32 receivers. The Tennessee Titans are one of them.
Yep. Tennessee Titans making another little bitty, I'll call it a little bitty splash today as they pick up Jamal Adams to add him to the defense, and what now shapes up to be, if everybody's healthy, could be a very terrifying secondary there with the Titans. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
The $1,000 bonus bucks give.
Clear.
Thank you. Smell that elephant you've always wanted. Eat your weight in tacos. Wear solid gold shoes. The bonus bucks giveaway. You could win $1,000. Chances to win each weekday.
Brought to you by Discount Shoes.
Step into savings at Discount Shoes in Brevard Road. Find your favorite brands for the whole family at unbeatable prices. From sporty sneakers to chic sandals, we've got it all. Hurry in and walk out with a deal that'll have you stepping in style. Discount Shoes, 1255 Brevard Road, Asheville.
Had a devastating knee injury, tore my ACL, tore my PCL, shredded my medial meniscus, and had an initial surgery. That really didn't hold. Had another follow-up surgery around 8 years later. That didn't work, and I didn't want to undergo another surgical procedure.
Enough with the surgeries. They didn't ease the pain, and recovery was brutal. Carmen heard about another treatment for pain relief, the non-invasive regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics.
I simply figured, heck, I'm going to pick up the phone and call QC Kinetics, and since I've been treated, my quality of life has dramatically gotten better, and I can't thank QC Kinetics enough.
These are the nation's leaders in regenerative medicine. QC Kinetics uses the body's own healing components to help provide relief and functionality.
10 months ago, I had difficulty walking up and down a flight of steps. Now I can do just about anything I desire. I'm back to the old me.
If you have joint pain, before you consider surgery, call QC Kinetics. The consultation is free.
Call QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
When you get nachos, tacos, empanadas, spicy queso with jalapenos, Pepto-Bismol's there. Pepto-Bismol provides fast, effective relief from nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, and diarrhea. All the things that can happen unexpectedly on vacation. So before you travel, pack the Pepto. Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
There's a lot of talk about heroes these days. Hey, buddy, you want to go fishing? The folks in the funny outfits with superpowers and spandex.
All right, buddy. Let me help you.
But at Ingalls, we know that a lot of our heroes
Now you look like a pro.
are a little closer to home. They're the ones who give us what we need for those everyday adventures. That's why we look up to the ones who look out for us.
Don't forget your fish food. Catch a big one.
Ingalls,
See you later, Dad.
all the ingredients for family.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
The Sportsocracy.
These guys are a f***ing disgrace.
We're back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. And tonight is ESPY's night. If you've been listening to the other programs here on ESPN Asheville all day long. Of course, the talk around, it's V Foundation Day. So if you want to make a donation, obviously, jimmyv.org is the website. Today is the 10th anniversary of the Stuart Scott speech. And part of me was crushed inside, thinking, how in the hell was that 10 years ago?
It's the second greatest speech I've ever heard. Jimmy B's was one.
Yep.
Stuart Scott's was two.
Stuart, yeah, absolutely. Anyway, give if you can. jimmyv.org is the website. ESPYs are tonight. Like any award show, I will not be watching. I will probably be spending some time on the new Receiver series on Netflix. Apparently that debuted last night or yesterday at some point.
It debuted yesterday. I haven't seen any of it yet.
I haven't either. That's what I was going to ask you, was whether or not you had seen any of it so far.
I love the behind the scenes stuff of the NFL.
I do too.
Now, any other sport, I don't care. I really couldn't care less if I tried. But the NFL, for whatever reason, is really intriguing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the conversation between Saquon and his name just went out of my head. The GM of the Giants.
Joe Shane.
I had Sling Blade stuck in my head, and I could not. And that's Freudian sleep, I guess.
Blade.
I could not get away from that. Where basically it was their last talk before he went into free agency, and it was a really uncomfortable chat.
Yeah.
Where basically he said, "Oh, you're going to give us a shot to match it, right? We're not going to do it, but give us a chance. You promise?" I literally thought of every girl I ever went on a bad date with. It was like, "You're going to call her, right? You promise? Please?"
And no.
Were
you the one not calling back, or they weren't calling you back?
It's gone both ways.
Okay. I just wanted to see if we'd get the honest answer on that one.
It's gone both ways. Have no fear.
Right. This coming on the heels of the quarterback series that made us all fall more in love with Kirk Cousins, and now we have the receiver series that follows the campaigns last year of George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Couldn't get Travis Kelce to commit to that. I guess he had other things going on.
Yeah, he's got to follow his girlfriend around the world and let her sing songs to him.
But wouldn't you?
You don't want to ask me that question.
Of course you would.
I cannot stand Taylor Swift, so I'm the wrong one to ask that question to.
Okay, let me frame it this way. If you had a world-famous girlfriend, regardless of it being Taylor Swift, you would 100% follow her around the world and let her sing songs to you every night.
Does it dumbfound you that guys are willing to open their lives like that? I mean, they struggled with trying to book the quarterback show. So they flexed a receiver. Do you think they will have the same problem a year from now?
I don't know.
I can't imagine having a camera in my house like that.
I can't either, but there again, as long as I have some control, as long as I can make sure that we only have windows where you can see into my house, and which, we don't want to spoil all the secrets.
I mean, and I don't know exactly what that looks like. I'm just, every time I see high-end players, just like when Pat Mahomes did quarterback, I was dumbfounded that he was willing to let cameras into his life like that. Then I see these things like Joe Shane basically sounding like a jilted lover talking to Saquon Barkley. Mm-hmm. I am shocked NFL teams put these things out. Now, that came on the, what is that, Hard Knocks?
Yeah, that was the Hard Knocks, the off-season
with the Giants.
Of Hard Knocks. Yeah.
That is such a bad look. I don't know that and I'm not huge on Joe Shane anyway, based on what he has done in this offseason. I'll never look at that guy any other way. Just this disingenuous crap that you fed Saquon Barkley. And then I can't remember exactly, he said something to the effect of, can you give me your word that you're going to give us another chance? Just, good Lord, that is a terrible look.
Just makes you look needy.
It makes you look pathetic, to be really honest with you. And then to know that he didn't mean it, because at the end of it, Saquon basically said, I've already told you I want to be here. You're not willing to pay me, so what are we even doing right now? Mm-hmm. So there's only a handful of solutions here. Either he did it for the camera, which, gross. He actually meant it, which is possibly even grosser. Which is, yeah, you go out there and figure out what the market for you is and come back here and we'll have a discussion to see if I'm willing to match what somebody else is to bring you back to the place that drafted you where you've already said you want to be. It's just gross. Mm-hmm. Now, I sit back and watch it like it's going out of style. It's just who I am. I like watching the car wreck.
Can't peel your eyes away from it because it's, well, you don't know what's going to happen next. And part of the thing that doesn't dumbfound me about players being involved in shows like this, I mean, this is your opportunity to build a brand. So, not that Patrick Mahomes really needed anything to further build his brand, but didn't you come away more endeared to him after that last year?
I did, honestly.
Yeah, after watching quarterback and you got into his head a little bit and got to see how he interacts in his personal life and just the attitude that he takes into everyday work, into the practices, into the games. A guy who's never throwing other people under the bus. He's always, that gives you the opportunity to show the random fan who's looking for something during the middle of the offseason. These things are timed perfectly to give us the little taste of football before we get into training camps for the new year. And it just endears you to these guys. Now, obviously, you got to make the call on how you're going to present yourself on this. And I don't see bombastic dudes signing up for this. Now, you don't see I'll just use it because it's the first name that came to my head. And when you think troublemakers or locker room cancers or guys that there's bad stories about all the time, I'll use a guy that's still in the league. I won't go the Antonio Brown route, but like Stephon Diggs. I don't see a whole lot of those guys signing up to do stuff like this.
I don't disagree with you.
Because to me, there would be too much of an opportunity to ruin your brand. You've got to have a certain personality, a certain charisma to be involved in this, and all of those guys that are going to be involved in this show this year, they all kind of have that. I'm excited to see Justin Jefferson up close and personal because I don't know much about him in his personal life.
I'm looking forward to Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I guess it's because I've seen so many interviews with him that his story has been covered so much because of his dad being the former Mr. Olympia and all of that. Like, I know more of his backstory. I already like him.
I'm already intrigued by his backstory. Mm-hmm. The others, I'm not going to say I'm not excited to watch it. I mean, as soon as this show's over, that's what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I've got some work to do in the office. I'm going to throw it up on the big screen in here, and I'll watch as much as I can until I'm ready to go asleep again.
Right.
But Amon-Ra is the one that intrigues me. We have our first super chat of the day.
Okay.
It's from my buddy Generations. Said he was scrolling around on DraftKings this morning, came across a hilarious future prop, WNBA MVP odds, and told me to go look at that ish, which I did. At this point, I think the chances of Asia Wilson to win WNBA MVP is about the same as it is for the sun to come up tomorrow.
Yeah.
You bet $10, you win $11.
Woo!
But if you bet on Caitlin Clark, you can bet $10 to win $610. That's plus 6,000, folks. That would be the same as betting that the sun does not come out tomorrow. What can I get on Shamiqua Holtzclaw? Is that a WNBA banger that I can get?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think she'd be on the list.
Oh, shoot! She was a baller. She was actually the first, and she may be the only WNBA player I've ever actually watched.
Shamiqua Holtzclaw. That takes me back to high school.
Man, you're old. I was in like the 5th grade when she came into when she was playing at Tennessee.
Thanks. Yeah, I think that was when I was in high school. Shamiqua Holtzclaw and Kelly Jolly was the point guard on those Pat Summitt Tennessee basketball teams. I dated a Tennessee fan at the time, so yeah, I was watching. I really did like Shamiqua, though. She was unbelievable.
Andy Gallus in our YouTube chat also said Full Swing was really good. I agree. Full Swing was awesome.
Good. It just didn't keep my interest as much as the other ones did. I'm not real sure why. Like and I feel like it was because every episode was more segmented. Like, I feel like the quarterback show, they did everybody every week. Right, it was Patrick Mahomes and Kirk Cousins and where they're at every week of the season. I felt like watching the Full Swing show, it was more like, okay, this is the episode about Keegan Bradley. And then the next one is, here's the episode about Dustin Johnson.
Yeah, see, I'm good with that. I'm perfectly fine with that.
If I don't know who you are, I'm not watching it. I'm too much of that guy. Like, if you mixed it in with the guys that I did know, like, I watched the Brooks Koepka episode. That was awesome.
The Tony Finau one was it could have been better, but it was still really good.
Right. So these are all very well produced shows, and I dig them a lot. I love the NASCAR one. That was all about the end of the season last year. It was about the playoff run last year, and that was where my wife was actually interested. See, that's the thing that gets me is like these documentaries. I can slide the sports documentaries into the true crime documentaries, and my wife will watch them with me. So I can get her interested.
Yeah, Amy, not so much. I had to watch the Drazen Petrovic Vlade Divac documentary with the sound off
the We Were
the closed
Brothers,
caption.
yeah. Oh no. Am I talking? Is that the one you're talking about? The 30 for 30 that was like We Were Brothers or something?
Once
like
Brothers,
that?
yes.
Once Brothers, yeah, about the war-torn country. And
yes,
that was a very good one.
Oh, it was phenomenal.
Yeah, I am a sucker for a sports documentary. And Receiver just came out on Netflix yesterday. According to all of the articles that I have seen about it today, it's worth the watch. It will be watched. It's just your little taste of football here in the offseason. Netflix filling in the gaps for you. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. When we come back, it'll be time to get just a bit outside.
This is your
And we're clear.
weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
All right, I'll be back in a minute.
Warm
Make sure I'm
afternoon, but
back
a
before
northerly
you
flow,
swing
keeping
it
the
back.
humidity down.
Yes, sir.
We have a day right around 85. Tonight, mainly clear, 63. Now, tomorrow's low pressure comes north. We'll see a few showers, thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening hours. Small chance, but there's a better chance toward the east. And if you are heading to the beach for the weekend, there's a better chance toward the beaches. And then sunshine will return here Saturday and Sunday with highs in the low 90s. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Manage the time and costs of hiring for your business by working with Express Employment Professionals. With 40 years of experience helping more than 75,000 businesses manage their workforce each year, let Express Pros help you. Visit ExpressPros.com.
2 guys, 5 rings. Yes. One essential podcast for the 2024 Paris Olympics. Bowen Yang and Matt Rogers host a new podcast that's all about the athletes.
You gotta get your head in the game. As Zac Efron once said.
And the culture.
Not French.
Well.
I have no association with the nation of France. But you did live in Montreal.
Of the 2024 Paris Olympics. Listen to 2 Guys, 5 Rings on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app. Search 2 Guys, 5 Rings and start listening.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects, but you got the idea. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's.
Gotta be fresh.
At participating U.S. Wendy's.
Upgrade your hot rod or muscle car with parts from Summit Racing. And right now, shop summitracing.com and use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Summitracing.com. Exclusions apply. Offer ends July 21st, 2024.
At Ingles, we're all in for summer. Whether you're hitting the trails, hitting the water, or hitting a golf ball, we have everything you need for the perfect picnic, the greatest grill out, and the best beach vacation. We know that the mountains are calling, the open road awaits, and that pool party is ready to rock. So head on over to Ingles and stock up on all the goodies to get you through your summer of freedom. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics have teamed up under new ownership by an Asheville native to better serve our community with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the best price. Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics can customize whatever you, your team, business, or local group may need through high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving right here in Asheville. Free personal delivery within Buncombe County and
Are you back?
in Western North Carolina. Visit ShowtimeSportsAVL.com and MountainGraphicsAVL.com. Your one-stop custom apparel shops.
This summer, Dale's Pale Ale salutes freedom.
Yeah, start
Freedom
with your
in
story
fabric,
like normal,
or
and we'll just
the fabric
slide
of
into
freedom.
Florida State Clemson
Denim
story.
Dale's
and we'll do
available
that
for
the
a
rest of the
limited
segment.
time. Bingo. Dale's salutes everyone who works hard, plays hard, and relaxes hard. Life's more than about what you pack in your dinner. Though we're packing beer, so we win. Seize the Dales. Unwind in style with a cool breeze up the jorts. Just look for the beer in the blue jean box.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
We're back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville and just a bit outside today. So I mentioned at the top of the program there was a big fracas last night at the end of the Copa Americas game at Bank of America Stadium. We had players from Uruguay going into the crowd to protect their families who were being harassed by Colombian fans in the stands last night. That may not be the biggest scandal, though, in what we would refer to as obscure sports, we have maybe a bigger scandal going on, Flostradamus, and we have to get to the bottom of this.
Is somebody weighing down Bass again?
Nope. It's even weirder than that. There is an accusation out there that, well, our grossest tradition of the season, of the year, on July the 4th, the Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest has been tainted, apparently.
Well, they use Dijon mustard, or how do you taint that exactly?
There's footage out there that shows Nick Weary, who was one of the competitors in the championship eating contests. He is probably, for competitive eaters, you probably know Miki Sudo, the women's champion year after year. This is her boyfriend, Nick Weary. He competed. He finished. He was credited with 46.75 hot dogs in the allotted time, good enough for 4th place. However, when the official tally came in, they gave him 5 more, 51.75 for his total. How did the extra 5 get added? Well, there's a theory out there that he was moving plates around on the table. You're telling me that this is how you keep the official count, is by counting the plates? Well, I just bring a whole stack of plates with me, and I'll just plop them right there up on the desk. The footage that was shared yesterday with this conspiracy theory that he cheated shows after the time stopped, he's like moving plates around on the table. And the accusation is that he moved an extra empty plate in front of him so it would weight his score. All of this controversy and news coverage, because there's several articles written about this thing today, all for the $1,000 prize that he got. Oh, and by the way, it doesn't change anything. He still finishes in 4th. So what are we really talking about here?
Woo! Now here's my question. What did you say his girlfriend's name was?
Miki Sudo.
Okay, so they're competitive eaters, and I will bet you this is just a wager. They still can't agree on what to have for dinner. They're going to have a lot of it, whatever it is. Yes. But they'll argue about it throughout the entire day.
Yes.
You feel like Japanese? No, I don't want that. How about a taco? No, I don't want that. Sorry.
We've had that discussion around iHeart before, that is every single relationship in the building.
Absolutely.
My story is about Clemson and Florida State, not weird sports. We have long been opining, as they are desperate to get out of the ACC, which one of these conferences would take them. Would it be the SEC or would it be the Big Ten? Well, Ross Dellinger, he has a slightly different take. Here's the quote. I think there's at least conversations between the Big 12 and Clemson and Florida State about the possibility of them joining. I don't know if anything's serious yet because they do have to get out of the ACC. Whether that's through a settlement or a court ruling, we could be months, if not years away from something, but that does seem to be one of the possibilities, is the Big 12. Now, I had not thought of this. I had looked at this as it's a 2-horse race because Clemson and Florida State are basically the only 2 big dogs still left on the block. North Carolina, because they're very good academically and they raise a lot of money. Duke's very good in basketball. There are a handful of others. But what if the Big 12 just pilfered the ACC? If one team gets out, they all get out. I'm not saying there's a lot in the Big 12 to be really happy about, but they do have one thing that the ACC doesn't. Their TV deal runs out in 2031. That's 5 years before the one from the ACC does.
Wow.
And their deal was $2.28 billion for the next 5 years. The ACC's was $4.2 billion for 20. It's $15 million a year more that Florida State and Clemson would get out of the Big 12 than they would get out of the ACC.
Right. The question would be is would the dispersal go down if you add more teams?
I struggle to believe that you add those two and your revenue is going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you that's one of those where you look at ESPN and go, hey, Fox, how about you pony up a little bit because you don't have anything with the ACC.
Yeah, not that the revenue would go down, but that it would just be spread out amongst more teams. It wouldn't really change all that much.
There's a pro rate in new members that I don't know what the logistics of that are, but it's an interesting thought. Solely because I think that's where we're headed here. There's going to be a third conference. You and I have talked about it's going to be the Big 12 and it's going to be the Big 10 and the SEC. There's a problem with that. The SEC has too many contingencies on who can be let in and upsetting Florida or upsetting Tennessee or upsetting South Carolina. You have too many rules. The Big 10 has too many academic rules. I did a little digging, by the way, on the AAU thing. You know, we've talked about that before, that no school that's in the Big 10 is not a member of the, the academic, it's some union that you have to be invited to.
Okay.
Do you know the two schools in Florida that are in the AAU?
No, I do not.
Well, Florida's one.
Okay.
I want to see how many guesses it takes for you to get the second one. And it's a D1 football school. Like this is an FBS school.
South Florida.
That's the one. And they were only invited a year ago.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that the Big Ten would accept USF and not FSU? A, I don't buy that. B, there is really nothing to that accreditation. After I dug into it further, I realized that there's way more to. A lot of it has to do with how much money you can raise. It's about your ability to fundraise, basically. Now, how that leads to USF and not Florida State or Miami, I don't really know.
Well, I don't think that's the only qualification. Like, I don't think
it's not the only qualification. It's just a big deal as to who they invite.
Right. But they want that qualification, but just because you have that qualification doesn't mean that we're interested, because South Florida would do nothing for us. But if, like, Carolina falls into that category, then okay. Then, yeah, we'll take Carolina.
Yeah, and I struggle to believe if we're getting into an arms race, I don't think that's going to be as big a deal as everybody makes it out to be.
Oh, the AAU requirement for the Big Ten? Yeah, and they may look away from that. The Big 12 already has 16 teams in it. They're out here at media days chirping that we're the deepest conference out here, which is crazy to me. I don't know how you'd convince yourself of that, but okay. Claiming that you're the deepest conference now, top to bottom. No, you're just the most muddled conference from top to bottom. Like, you don't have, like, the SEC clearly has its top-tier teams and it's got its bottom-tier teams. You're right, the Big 12 at this point, I don't think they really have that. I think you just have everybody mishmashed into one competitive bundle, which would be great, but you need some heavy hitters. And I don't think moving forward, Baylor and TCU and even Utah are really going to help you build a brand as that third wheel. The SEC and the Big Ten rule all. We know that. Now it's who survives outside of that. The Big 12 clearly has planted their flag there. You get Clemson and Florida State, then we're talking.
Oh, well, for me, it wouldn't just be Clemson and Florida State. I think North Carolina and somebody else would go too. I don't think the SEC has any interest in adding another school.
To give the Big 12 20 teams.
Well, I mean, that's where you're headed.
They would add 4 more.
That's where this is headed. I mean, look, the SEC has basically, and I got a really good source on this. The SEC has pretty well drawn their line in the sand of we're not adding more than 16. And we're certainly not doing it to upset Florida, or Florida and South Carolina are the two that would get upset with Clemson and Florida State. because they want to keep those non-conference games with their rival because it guarantees the schedule is basically – it's not set. It just makes it a lot easier to schedule because then you get 2 cupcake games, the 9 in the conference and Florida State, or the 2 cupcake games in Clemson, and you're done. You don't have to worry about adding all of these out-of-conference games the way Alabama does. Alabama plays a kickoff game virtually every year, and they have for the better part of the last decade because their biggest rival is in state and in the conference.
Right, so to get them to 20, they could take Carolina, Clemson, Florida State. Question would be, who would be the 4th? Does Duke make the Big 12 interested?
I don't think so.
Clearly, I would say clearly the basketball would be interesting. The Big 12 already holds themselves in high esteem as a competitive basketball conference. So adding Carolina Duke would be phenomenal in that respect. If you're talking money, Louisville's always been the one. In a conference that doesn't care about academics, Louisville has always made the most sense. I'll be really honest with you. Louisville makes more sense than Clemson does. Oh, but Clemson's been good in football. What if you're not? All right, let's say they hit hard time, the daddy. What is Clemson then? I mean, honestly, we watched this for 25 years before the Dabo Swinney era. Yeah, I was going to say, you can go back to being what you were in the 90s, which was a baseball school.
Which is irrelevant.
Yes.
I have always thought that was part of the problem with this, is that you don't take one team by themselves. Florida State's very attractive because they're good at everything. You look at every non-revenue generating sport, they're good at all of it. And it's a good academic school. I mean, I'm not sitting here telling you it's Notre Dame, but it's up there. It's probably the reason that, never mind, no good can come from what I was getting ready to say there. I was going to call myself a big old dum-dum. I knew full well that Florida State was not for me. I love the school, but that's not where I wanted to go. I wonder if Clemson is going to have a harder time finding a place to land than we think. Because none of them make all that much sense. Florida State, I can see how you get to any of them. If the SEC is going to draw the line in the sand and we're not taking any more schools, okay. But if you were going to, it's Florida State.
Yes.
I don't know that everybody feels about Clemson the way the media on the whole does. You're just not as attractive as you think you are.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of recency bias in that. Obviously, from the fact that Dabo is still there, and this team did win a national championship, was it 4 years ago? So we're not too far removed from that era. I mean, they do make a lot of money, I would have to imagine.
Who does?
Clemson is probably up there on that list of top earners, at least in the ACC, I would imagine. They've got to be like 2 or 3.
They are 3.
They're 3. Behind Florida State and who? Carolina?
Virginia. Virginia's 1 in the ACC.
Oh, I remember us talking about that. That's still surprising to me every time I hear it. Could be, and then the Big Ten goes to 20. They throw in Notre Dame and Duke, and there you go. You get, and the SEC is just going to stick at 16 because they're not interested. The only ones that are left that they would be interested in are Florida State and Clemson, and if they're going to stick to we're not damaging the relationships with our current members by bringing in their rivals, then I don't see the SEC making another move.
Yeah, like I said, I've got a pretty good authority in the SEC that's been really, really accurate that said they have no interest in adding anybody else. Unless somebody else makes a move, they don't feel like Oregon, USC, UCLA, and Washington really move the needle. I will say the report coming out from Phil Knight that he's basically said they have unlimited NIL. That's something we should talk about at some point, just probably not today.
We can put a pin in it for tomorrow.
That sounds like a winner to me. We do have another super chat, too, before we go to commercial.
Oh, we do? All right, let's hit that.
Yeah! It's from the Ocho, who said, worst trade in sports history is Herschel Walker. He did a full podcast episode on it on the Armchair Commentary.
Oh, there you go. Go check that out.
I feel very sure that will be on our list. I cannot in good conscience say it's the worst trade in sports history anymore. Now, I feel like somebody will disagree with me, but there is one that I think it passed Herschel Walker.
Are you going to let me take this to break or what?
Maybe. I might not. I might just keep talking until you actually cut me off.
You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. 92.9 FM, 880 AM at 1400. When we come back, we'll talk best players in the secondaries in the NFL.
At Boot Barn, we believe...
All right, we're clear.
I was going to interrupt you after you said that, and I just couldn't think of anything to interrupt you with.
I was waiting for you, too. I was completely anticipating you doing it.
Cowboy. Ariat boots are built with advanced technology that provides the comfort and support of a high-performance athletic shoe, yet still has the functionality and durability of the iconic cowboy boot. And at Boot Barn, we carry over 250,000 pairs of Ariat boots nationwide. Ariat at Boot Barn.
It's the Marketer's Report. Today, Kate Cronin, Chief Brand Officer of Moderna, tells us about the advantages the speed of audio production affords their growing tech company.
At Moderna, we have a mindset saying that we pivot fearlessly. And I think with audio, you can pivot fearlessly. You can go where the news is and bringing in content that perhaps you didn't have a few weeks earlier. It's less 6 months in advance.
We are back right at the top.
BBC, you're able to create really nimble content, which I think in this day and age, and particularly at Moderna, where we have new information coming out on a regular basis, being able to feed that information to the audio format makes being nimble and pivoting easy.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to all, from national to local, every audience, live conversations, trusted influencers, and the insights and data you need to grow. Not just a media company, iHeartMedia is your access company. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at ClarissaSellsWNC.com. Download our free app on Google Play or the App Store. Type in Asheville Home Search. You'll be able to connect with our team and see all the available homes for sale in our area. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or ClarissaSellsWNC@gmail.com.
Now's the time to get in the driver's seat of your career. Ingalls Markets is looking for new regional drivers to join our Lando Sky distributors fleet. Begin earning paid time off on your first day. Our drivers average $80,000 per year and they're home every week. Lando Sky offers excellent pay, full benefits, and 401k matching. No experience? Apply for our driver trainee program. Visit inglescareers.com to know more. That's inglescareers.com.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Warm afternoon, but a northerly flow keeping the humidity down. Lots of sunshine, a beauty of a day, right around 85. Tonight, mainly clear, 63. Now, tomorrow's low pressure comes north. We'll see a few showers, thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening hours. Small chance, but there's a better chance toward the east. And if you are headed to the beach for the weekend, there's a better chance toward the beaches. And then sunshine will return here Saturday and Sunday with highs in the low 90s. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stejik.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Manage the time and costs of hiring for your business by working with Express Employment Professionals. With 40 years of experience helping more than 75,000 businesses manage their workforce each year, let Express Pros help you. Visit expresspros.com.
Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning's hottest summer sale is going on now. 15% off all cleaning services. Mention ESPN Asheville and you'll get 15% off your next service. Use promo code Summer Sale when scheduling online at ZeroResAsheville.com.
I knew there had to be a better way to get relief from joint pain aside from surgery and harmful medications.
That's football legend and dancing champ Emmitt Smith, who knows a thing or two about joint pain.
Turns out I was right. It's called QC Kinetics, and now tens of thousands of patients and counting all across the country, they're feeling amazing. They say, hey, Emmitt, you were right.
QC Kinetics zeroed in on a technology that is revolutionizing pain treatment. They are transforming patients' lives. The largest provider of non-surgical regenerative treatments using natural healing properties to help restore and repair aching knees, hips, shoulders, and backs. Call them today for your free consultation.
QC Kinetics. I knew there had to be a better way. I love it when I'm right.
QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
ESPN Asheville is WPEK W225CJ Fairview, WMFX Waynesville, an iHeart radio station, the exclusive audio home of NBC's coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympics.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, cash. That's cash. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com.
Live from the Ingles studio.
I can't wait to play with myself every day.
The Sportsocracy.
Damn the devil to hell! Let the big dogs eat! Let them on the field!
Come get you some of this.
Fire them cannons! By golly, put more powder in those things.
He couldn't take any more disappointment.
Oh, my God. The Jets killed him.
It is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. In the Ingles studio, I'm Tank Spencer. You can take us with you everywhere you go on the iHeart Radio app. Mullet, he is live at Mullet Manor at ESPN Draft Nerd. Is that still your handle, by the way, on the?
Yes, that will be my Twitter handle until ESPN figures it out and fires me,
or until it becomes a brand of its own.
Hey, who knows?
That's right. Jeremy Greene live at Mullet Manor here as we are proving for once this summer that we can do an entire full week of shows.
It is possible
this week, though.
And now, after we do this full week, we then need a 5-day weekend next week.
No doubt.
To rehab from that. And then we're back. And we're fully back, and the summer's over, and we'll have football to talk about. We will have played all the college football 25 we can stand.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry, we will still be around. We'll be here on Monday of next week doing a regular show here in the Ingles studio. Tuesday is going to be just a special day because that's the deep dive day into the college football 25 game. We will be playing at Jeremy's house all day long.
Yes,
and we'll be streaming on the YouTubes. So be sure to tune in
here's a question:
live commentary and watch me cry.
Now here's a question that I was asked by one of our lovely sponsors: will we be partaking in cold beverages whilst we play the college football game?
Yes.
Okay.
Why would you not?
Does that mean that your wife is going to have to come pick you up from my house, or are we going to have to send you home in an Uber?
I mean, if it's a good day, she might.
It's happened before. Usually when your car comes into the lovely Reynolds Village, it doesn't tend to leave. At least not with you driving it.
That happened like one time. Come on.
That's a weird way to say four, but okay.
Pick me up. No. It was just that one time on my dad's birthday when I got way too drunk to go to his birthday dinner. And
that's a thing that happened.
Yeah, I still haven't lived that one down yet. But it is what it is. You know, sometimes you get carried away when you're hanging out with Flostradamus watching college basketball.
Boom.
It tends to happen that way sometimes. It would be better her coming to pick me up than me having to say goodbye to your floor.
Yes.
Again,
which also happened.
Now, that did happen.
Mm-hmm.
Although my car went with me because she drove.
Yes.
Anyhow, welcome everybody into the second hour of the program here on a Thursday afternoon. Top 13s, position by position. Continuing here, yesterday we did the defensive lines, or the defensive line positions, defensive tackles and edge rushers. You can go back and check that out on the podcast if you missed it. Today, focusing on secondaries. We want to start with the safeties?
Yeah, I'm down with it.
In this one, all right, let's start at safety. Number one safety in the league, Antoine Winfield Jr. Move on to the next one.
It's not him, not for me.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's hear it. Who you got?
It's Javon Holland.
Is it? Okay. Explain to me how he is above Antoine Winfield Jr. on the list.
Name me what he can't do. What can Javon Holland not do? I mean, now look, that applies to Antoine Winfield too.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to wait long to hear his name. What is it that I've never seen Javon Holland do? He's a freak athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Might be the most athletic player in the NFL.
Okay.
I'm assuming your pause there means you didn't have an answer to the question that I asked you.
What was the question?
What can he not do?
Oh, I don't have an answer.
He's never been coached well. All of these things, he's never even been used appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's still more out of Javon Holland that we've never seen before. He's 24 years old. And every time I see that, it makes me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is a special talent. And you remember that I said this, and it's not because I'm biased, just so it happens to be that I know the guy. Anthony Weaver is going to do things with Javon Holland that we haven't seen out of a safety in a long, long time.
Okay.
Do you know how many pass rush snaps Javon Holland played all year last year? How many times did he actively rush a quarterback last year?
Oh, I don't know. 58.
6. He had 6 pass rush snaps last year. I have it on good authority that that's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, to me, he's a special kid. I'm as a Jet fan, I hate that he plays for the Dolphins, and he's probably going to for a long, long, long time.
Yep. All right, number 2.
That's where Antoine Winfield comes in.
Okay.
He's had 2 special years. He was special last year. He was special in 2021. He was good in 2022. Mm-hmm. He's everything you could ever want, and I'll be honest with you, I think by the time he's done, he will be the best safety that ever played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, including the really mediocre GM of the San Francisco 49ers.
That's putting a lot on Antoine, but you're not wrong. He's already in the discussion with John Lynch. It's just
he covers better than John Lynch did.
Of course he does. They are 2 different players. I mean, John Lynch was the guy that would just bring the hammer and just lay it down.
And the funny thing is that's how Antoine Winfield started.
And I guess that's why when you said about Javon Holland, what can he not do? What can Antoine Winfield Jr. not do? He can do everything.
Now, here was the difference for me.
He can force the turnovers. He can cover you. He can do all of it.
Here was the difference for me. Javon Holland has had his best games against the best quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Antoine Winfield hasn't. Now, I'm going super deep divey there because I'll be honest with you, I could have gone 1A and 1B here, and I wouldn't have really had a problem with it. Because that's 1, 2, and then there is quite a leap to 3.
Okay.
And I would be fine with either of the – if you wanted to have Winfield 1 and Holland 2, I'm fine with that. But they are 1 and 2. And for me, it's Holland 1, Winfield 2.
Okay. Number 3.
Kyle Hamilton.
I was expecting him to be in your top 2, because I know how much you love him.
I do love him. And
what is his?
You remember, Tank, when he was coming out in the draft, and I said he was the number 1 player in that class, and it wasn't all that close. And people lost their minds because he was a 4'6", 40 guy. Have you ever one time watched him with the Baltimore Ravens and gone, man, I wish he was faster?
No, I have not.
It's kind of like Tyler Linderbaum. You ever watch him and go, man, I wish his arms were longer? No. Ain't it funny that the Ravens took both of those guys? Guys that every analyst wanted to talk about measurables and nonsense like that. Watch the damn game. It is not hard to figure out. It was not hard to figure out with him. And he's never disappointed for even a second. According to PFF grade, he was the 6th best safety in the league last year. He was first as a rookie.
The only player with at least 10 tackles for a loss and 10 pass deflections last season. That's pretty impressive for a guy who's 23 years old.
Mm-hmm. And still getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he is not very good against the run. And there are some really questionable angles that if you want to find tape to ding him on, it is way easier to find it on him than it is on the top 2.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still so special that I don't see how anybody else could be ahead of him.
Yep. All-Pro last year, Kyle Hamilton comes in at number 3. Number 4.
Now for the old hat of the group, Jesse Bates.
The old hat.
He's 28, and he's the oldest one in this group by a full year. He's just been so good for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think in Atlanta, I think he will be better this year than he was last. He fits Raheem Morris like a glove. And he is going to be the guy that calls that defense. And I think he is. You don't see him rush the passer. He's more the stereotypical deeper safety, the coverage guy. But he is as good of a deep safety as we have seen in a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
I was worried that there was going to be a drop-off when he went to Atlanta, that he took the money, he didn't fit, because I didn't love him in the system that they played last year, and he had arguably the best year of his career.
Right. He had 6 interceptions last year, 3 forced fumbles, 132 tackles. Jesse Bates at number 4. Number 5.
Xavier McKinney.
All right, what do you like about Xavier McKinney?
Well, he's coming off the best year of his career. He had been a bit of a disappointment, and then Wink Martindale figured out how to use him. Then Wink was gone, and Xavier went, well, me too. I'm going to go with Jeff Hafley to Green Bay. And now I think you're going to see how actually talented this kid is. Just look at the discrepancy in the talent around him and how differently he will be used. Look, last year, he was deep quite a bit because that secondary was not good enough. You had a Dory Jackson that could run with faster receivers and just get burnt like a batch of cookies you left in the oven too long. And you had Deonte Banks, who showed he can play in this league, but he was a rookie. And so he was playing that two-shell over the top quite a bit. In Green Bay, I could easily see him doing a little bit of everything and being the disguise behind Jair Alexander, behind Eric Stokes, if he's actually healthy this year. And I think you're going to see just how good and how freakishly athletic this kid is.
Does kind of help out that defense having another star in that secondary with Jair.
I was shocked at first when I saw the money that Green Bay gave him. And I said that. I had some chats about that behind the scenes and basically was told, go watch the tape again. You'll figure it out pretty quick.
Yep.
And I did.
Injury concerns with him?
I mean, they're there, but they're, in all honesty, I could say that about several of the guys that are remaining on this list.
Mm-hmm.
The bigger fear for me would be because he does play into that contract year thing that I was talking about yesterday. Of your best season of your career was in your contract year. You would never look like that before. With him, I think it's because the Giants are just absolutely pathetically coached in certain aspects.
Okay, the newest, or one of the newest members of the Green Bay Packers, Xavier McKinney, coming in at number 5 at the top 13 safeties for 2024. We'll continue with Flo Stradamus' list after this.
Is arthritic joint pain keeping you from doing the things you love?
And you're clear.
Pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulder? There are exciting new cellular therapies that can get you lasting relief. QC Kinetics is helping patients like you every day. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine, cutting-edge treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. If you're living with chronic pain from arthritis or injury, you need to know steroids and surgery and pain pills are no longer your only option. Learn how QC Kinetics can treat the pain, enhance your joints, restore your mobility, and give you long-term relief with no downtime. The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are ready to help you get your life back with regenerative, restorative cellular treatments for your achy joints. In Asheville and in Greenville, call for a free consultation now. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss. I'm Scarlett Johansson. My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater and the arts as a child, which fostered my love for acting. The Feeding America network of food banks helps millions of people put food on the table. You can join the movement to end hunger by donating, volunteering, and advocating. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This summer, Dale's Pale Ale salutes freedom. Freedom in fabric, or the fabric of freedom. Denim Dale's available for a limited time in the blue jean box. Dale's salutes everyone who works hard, plays hard, and relaxes hard. Life's more than about what you pack in your dinner. Though we're packing beer, so we win. Seize the Dales. Unwind in style with a cool breeze up the jorts. Just look for the beer in the blue jean box.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. Download our free app on Google Play or the App Store. Type in Asheville Home Search. You'll be able to connect with our team and see all the available homes for sale in our area. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
The Sportsocracy.
These guys are a f***ing disgrace.
It is the ESPN Asheville. We're working our way through the top 13 safeties for 2024 in the NFL. Position by position breakdowns continuing here in our off-season coverage. Javon Holland, a controversial choice by Flostradamus at number 1. Antoine Winfield Jr. was his 2. Should have been 1, but okay. Kyle Hamilton at 3. Jesse Bates at 4. And Xavier McKinney, the new Green Bay Packer, was number 5 on your list. Now at 6, Flostradamus.
Brian
Best
Branch.
Safeties. Brian, 1 year? 1 year, you ready to crown him, huh?
Yeah, I don't need 84 years of example like you do. It's pretty obvious to me when you watch him on film. Say that again?
I said I need at least 2.
Yeah, I don't. I don't. I would have had Kyle Hamilton this high on the list last year because I knew the talent going in. Brian Branch was, during our draft coverage in 2023, that was a name that the further down he fell, the more you and I just looked at each other and went, what is happening right now? Oh, he ran a 4.58. Who cares? And then you see how Aaron Glenn used him last year in Detroit. And I think he'll be even better this year. Now he's going to play more traditional safety, I think. He's not filling that role in the slot, and he will still do that. But now he's got a legit secondary in front of him. And you can let him roam and range and do the things that got him to where he's at. And I think you're going to see something special out of him I never thought he would be a traditional run stopper safety. I think he can do that. I really do. I think he can be anything you want him to be.
I was going to say, why would I pigeonhole him into that role, though? He's so good at coverage.
Oh, I'm not saying that that's all he would do. Right. I'm saying now that you have all these pieces in the secondary, I can allow him to do everything, as opposed to I'm bringing him off the edge as a pass rusher. I'm dropping him. I can do anything I want. And he is good at all of it.
We've talked time and time again in this offseason about the rebuild there in the secondary for Detroit. And you're right. Adding in Carlton Davis and Terrion Arnold in the draft, Emmanuel Mosley coming back, Enos Rakestraw, taking him in the draft as well. Like, now that you have all of these pieces, I have a steady group there where now maybe I don't have to move him around as much, but I can move him more if I need to. And just try to confuse the opposing team, which could lead to more splash plays because he's one of the best at it. Wasn't he also a kick returner in college?
I don't think so, but he might have done it.
For some reason, I had that in my mind that he was also a kick returner years ago. But anyway, can make some good plays with the ball in his hands. Brian Branch at 6. Number 7,
Marcus Williams. And this is more what I've seen, and I'm not – look, he's had injury issues. He's still a special player when he's on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, last year he missed 2 4-week blocks, I think. I know he got hurt in the first week, and then I think he got hurt his second game back from that. But I still think he can be – I mean, there was a time that I would have had Marcus Williams as the best safety in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
When he left New Orleans, I thought he was the best safety in the league. Now, he hasn't been as good in Baltimore, but he's still been pretty daggum good. And I'm not dinging him on injuries as much as I think other people do.
Well, when you have back-to-back years where you have played 2/3 of the season, it becomes, well, maybe there's a history here. Because he missed 7 games 2 years ago, and last year he missed 6. And so that does become part of your legacy. How many times have we talked about players like Joe Mixon, who got hurt their first 2 years in the league, but he's played every game since then, but you can't shake it.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, there are plenty of guys that get that reputation as injury prone. This is where I fall with Marcus Williams. When he's on the field, he's still that insanely rangy safety that he's been. Mm-hmm. This is not like, I mean, and I hate to use this example, but who we started the show with, this is not like Jamal Adams that he got hurt and then all of a sudden he was 10% of the player that he was. Yeah, he misses games, but when he's on the field, he is a problem.
Yes. All right, so now we've got both Baltimore safeties in the top 7.
There are a couple teams that have 2 safeties on this list,
which is exactly where they belong. At number 8,
Minkah Fitzpatrick. His good is fantastic. ESPN, they had him at 4. He's just such a special player at taking the ball away. And that was the reference that they made in the write-up about him. There are not many guys that can be as impactful on the game as he is. Now, there's a yeah but here. There are other times that he is a straight-up liability because he tries to make a play every time the ball is thrown anywhere near him. He gets burnt more than I like. And that's why he's 8 on my list compared to 4 from ESPN.com. Because he is a special athlete and a special kind of difference maker. He's just got to learn when you take that risk. Now, that could be that the secondary in front of him has been pretty bad in Pittsburgh. But it's getting better.
Yeah. With Joey Porter in that secondary, I expect him to make a developmental step this year and be another star in that secondary. Minkah, I feel like he gets overlooked at times.
Why do you say
and
that?
I feel like it's just because I just don't feel like too many. I was surprised, honestly, when I pulled up the list today that came from ESPN and he was at 4. Because I feel like he's a guy that usually gets ranked down in that like 7-8 range, and I feel like he's better than that. I feel like you may be a little low on him. I wouldn't take any of the guys that you've ranked really ahead of him at this point. Maybe Branch because it's early, but I don't know. I feel like Minkah is expected because we've seen him make the big plays and because he was such a ballyhooed, prospect coming out of Alabama.
See, and it's funny you said that way because when I saw him at 4, I went, man, why do we overrate him in every one of these lists?
Really?
He was 1 last year.
Which is way too high.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like I feel like he is a guy that does belong in that discussion amongst the best, but I don't see it as often as I think I should. At number 9,
Tali Hufanga, a guy that I know you're very fond of from the San Francisco
I am.
49ers.
I am. He reminds me so much of Antoine when I watch him play.
Yeah, it's funny you said that because he reminds me of John Lynch. I got you come his way, especially in the box, and he's going to make you pay. I don't want to see him cover ever. Ever, 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 ever. He is the definition of a box safety.
How do the analytics feel about his coverage? Is he one of those ranks among the bottom 5 guys?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I can get you an answer to that.
Yeah.
I searched his name and it asked me if I was looking for Lorenzo Taliaferro, which is a name that I don't think I've heard in 8 years.
Who is that?
He played for the Ravens years ago.
Oh, okay.
Also helped if I spelled his name right.
Yes. Talanoa Hufanga.
Let's see.
He is the one exception that I have when you say, "Oh, they never get any of their picks right." Well, I got that one right. Dang it! We got John Lynch has got at least one success story where he can go, "I grabbed that guy in the 5th round," and he has been kind of first round value in the 5th round.
Well, I mean, when you have 43 picks a year, invariably, just the law of averages say you will eventually get one right.
You're going to hit one of them. We keep giving you these compensatory picks. You need to land a couple every now and then.
Hufanga, according to PFF, is the 29th rated safety in the league and 42nd in coverage.
That feels bad.
Analytics don't love him, but it's also that's another example of where analytics can be a little misleading because there's no way for the analytics to go, well, he has scared urine actually out of 84 receivers this year. So there's no way for them to quantify that. So it gets kind of hard for them to put that into the rankings.
Yeah. And 24 years old, plenty of room for him to grow as well.
It blows he's 25, by the way.
Oh, is he 25?
And it blows my mind how on a team that good and a glamour franchise, he's still glossed over as often as he is. See, I'm going to say the same thing about him that you just said about Minka, because I don't ever see that out of Minka. I don't think I've ever seen him outside of the top 5 in a list that I didn't do. I don't know that this isn't the first time I've ever seen Hufanga in a top 10 because ESPN had him the same spot I did.
Mm-hmm. You're in the Sportsocracy. It's ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. Top 13 safeties for 2024 in the NFL. We'll continue the countdown after the break. Plus, it'll be time to get weird.
This is your Exergen Temp.
Clear.
Thank you.
Cast on ESPN
Asheville. We're going to need to finish off the safeties.
Keeping the humidity down, lots of sunshine, a beauty of a day right around.
Do you want to work backwards on the corners?
63. Now tomorrow's low pressure comes north.
Oh, we can.
Let's do that. Let's do the last 4 of the safeties and the bottom 4 of the corners.
There's a better chance.
Then we'll do the draft with worst trades of all time, and then we'll do the top.
In the low 90s. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored.
We'll do the top 8 corners in the second half of the last hour.
For Acura's, including the RDX.
All right.
And Integra. AppleTree Acura is committed to offering you professional service and a great experience. Shop online at AppletreeSuperstore.com and in person, I-26 at Airport Road, Asheville.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One.
Coming back to Las Vegas, September 20th and 21st. Streaming live only on Hulu.
A weekend full of superstar performances.
Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com.
Hey, pool season fanatics, your summer persona is calling. It's time for sun-soaked party scenes at MGM Grand, new luxury cabanas at Bellagio, and standing beach living at Mandalay Bay. Show off your poolside, only with MGM Rewards. Visit MGMRewards.com for details.
In 1944, Dodson Pest Control was founded with the core values of honesty, integrity, pride in their work, and respect for customers. 80 years later, the Dodson family still strives for those same values.
Hello, this is Bonnie Dodson. My father and uncle were always proud of their profession, and I am also proud that Dad's legacy lives on with my generation. We remain focused on providing every customer with the attention they deserve.
Dodson Pest Control, 80 years of experience. Visit DodsonBROS.com.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you right now, like Alt 2K.
Don't wanna be an American idiot.
Just search Alt 2K and listen now on your free iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio.
Free never sounded so good.
At Ingles, we're all in for summer. Whether you're hitting the trails, hitting the water, or hitting the golf ball, we have everything you need for the perfect picnic, the greatest grill out, and the best beach vacation. We know that the mountains are calling, the open road awaits, and that pool party is ready to rock. So head on over to Ingles and stock up on all the goodies to get you through your summer of freedom. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics have teamed up under new ownership by an Asheville native to better serve our community with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the best price. Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics can customize whatever you, your team, business, or local group may need through high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving right here in Asheville. Free personal delivery within Buncombe County and a reduced delivery fee anywhere in Western North Carolina. Visit ShowtimeSportsAVL.com and MountainGraphicsAVL.com. Your one-stop custom apparel shops.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at ClarissaSellsWNC.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or ClarissaSellsWNC@gmail.com.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
Back in the Sportsocracy, this is ESPN Asheville, and Jeremy, you know, lots of people spend 7 years in college.
Usually called doctors, but yes, you're right.
There you go. There you go. Thank you for throwing that in there. Did you see the headline today that this year will be the last year of college football for Cam Rising? I know you're upset.
Devastated. I think he and I got to college at the same time.
He has decided that this year will be no more. And of course you go, well, of course he's not going to be around any longer because there's no possible way that he could play again. But then you would be wrong. Apparently he still has 1 year of eligibility left after this year, despite the fact that he was recruited to Texas back in 2018. It's been a long, long road. Or actually 2017, I guess.
I think he's the only player that his initial recruiting letter was sent in Morse code.
He is one of the final recipients of the extra COVID year, but because he also had thrown in there a medical redshirt year, plus there was the sitting out a year, because this is how far he goes back, is that he transferred from Texas to Utah when you still had to sit out a year. And so he basically, the first 3 years that he was actually the member of a team, none of it counted against his eligibility. So he still has this year and next year to be able to play college football, but he has told the media at 25 years old that it is not in the plan for him to come back and play, that he feels like 7 years in college is, quote, more than enough.
We agree wholeheartedly. My story is about Major League Baseball. The All-Star Game is coming to Globe Life Field in Arlington, and they will have something in the ballpark that fans have been clamoring for forever.
Oh, yeah?
Robots. They're going to have robots at the Major League Baseball All-Star Game.
Why do we want robots?
Calling balls and strikes. We've been talking about the robot umpire forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only problem is that this robot's not an umpire. It's a bartender. They have two different versions of this. One is Adam, who you'll find in section 111, who can make drinks, clean up after himself, greet customers, and carry on simple conversations, which actually means that Adam is more qualified to be the president of the United States than who we actively have right now. You'll also have the rotender in section 125, who can automatically make cocktails and drinks in 30 seconds after fans order them.
What's it called?
The rotender.
The rotender, okay.
That they combined robot and bartender. Yeah. They've really worked hard on these names.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, baseball fans, predictably, are irate.
Are they?
They're irate just all over Twitter. Wait till it breaks down and we have unhappy customers. We need heavier pours. What is this? Robots taking human jobs in this economy? That was said by a blue check mark. I had to get that one in. Yeah, you know why? Because the robot doesn't want $25 an hour. The robot works for 10W40.
Yeah.
I have no problem with robot bartenders. I've always said this day is coming. Because frankly, it's not that hard. I mean, look, even the Adam, he can even make small talk with people.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ask me what that consists of because I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm afraid to ask, and I'm also afraid to converse with it. So the first time that I go to a bar and I get approached by a robot trying to take my order, I will probably just get up and leave.
I will not. I will go.
I'm not doing that.
I will go. Okay, this is fine. I mean, I would prefer it to be a person.
It'll probably make me so uncomfortable.
Here's what I can't wait to see, because the average fan at a Major League Baseball All-Star game is 79 years old. I can't wait for somebody to walk up and go, "Could you make me a sarsaparilla?" And it just shortens out. Like
it just doesn't know what to do.
That hasn't been made in this country in 50 years.
It's not true. You can go buy one right now. Ingles Supermarkets, low prices, love savings.
Can you really?
Sioux City, that's the best one on the market.
I don't even know what that is.
The Sioux City sarsaparilla.
I don't know what sarsaparilla is.
It's root beer. It's like a.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's a different kind of root beer.
Yeah, I don't like root beer anyway. So.
Oh, I love root beer.
I liked it for about 5-year stretch, from about 9 to 14, because you could get it in a bottle, and I was like, "Hey, look, I'm drinking beer." And then I just actually started drinking beer.
I started drinking beer at 11 years old. Bang up job, Rick.
Hey, I had a great childhood. Okay.
I don't doubt that it was a great childhood. You still just feel like you grew up way too fast. It's my only criticism.
I did not grow up too fast. I had a great childhood. It was fantastic.
Of course you did. Smoking heaters and drinking moonshine out there on the farm that you never went outside on. Top 13.
Exactly. What, does that not sound like a pretty sweet life?
Top 13 safeties in the NFL for 2024. Number 10. Just a few left on the list here. Number 10, Jeremy, is
C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I think he's without a doubt the most annoying player in the NFL. But he really created a spot. I mean, in all reality, he created a position in the NFL because he was the first one to really do that, where he could play deep safety. He could play in the box. He could play in the slot. Mm-hmm. And he just brings an edge. I've always said he's so damn irritating that he gets in guys' heads. I don't know that to be true, but I know he gets into a lot of fights.
There is no doubt about it. He is one of the biggest trash talkers in the NFL. Here's the thing, though. He can back it up with his play.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, and look, I'm not shocked that he's a big trash talker because he went to Florida and his degree's probably printed on the back of a cereal box. So I had the first person confront me about that the other day. Why do you talk so much smack about Florida? I don't know. Let me get my crayons. I'll write it down for you.
I was going to say, because they're an AAU school and you're not. So coming from a Florida State fan, that doesn't feel like a just criticism.
Here, give me some markers. I'll draw you a picture. Maybe you'll figure it out.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson at 10. Number 11.
Jalen Petrie of the Houston Texans.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any path that he doesn't become really good. I mean, and maybe it's just I didn't love him coming out because I didn't necessarily think he had a position. He did a lot of good things. I just couldn't figure out where you were going to put him. And I think Houston still struggles with that to this day. We know we want him on the field. I'm just not real sure where. But his day is coming. I'm seeing the improvement game over game over game. And this, to me, is the coming out party year. Year 3.
Year 3, coming out party puts him in the top 13 at number 11.
I think he'll be in the top 8 next year. It's just me making a bold proclamation for a year from now.
Number 12.
Buda Baker.
Oh, you mean the Pro Bowler?
Yeah.
Sorry, I still get a kick out of that. Buda Baker made the Pro Bowl last year. Antoine Winfield did not.
I
still make that make sense to me.
I struggle to.
When one of them had 12 turnovers forced last year, and the other one had 2?
That sounds right.
I think that was how many Buda had last year.
My problem with Buda is that, and it's not really it's not a problem per se. It's just he is such a specific player because he has limitations into what he can do. What he does, he's great at. But you got to have a safety right beside him that because Buda's a free safety that plays like a strong safety. He doesn't rush the passer well. He doesn't cover well. He's just really good and really stout at stopping guys in the hole. There's a merit to that. Don't get me wrong. It's usually at strong safety. I have never figured out how nobody has looked at him and gone, you've been playing the wrong position for like 10 years, right? He's an infuriating player to me because I think he is really good. He's just long been miscast, and he is, oh boy, you talk about, he makes me angry in coverage from time to time.
Just because he gets lost?
It's not that lost makes it sound like he doesn't have the talent to do it. I think he is put in bad positions sometimes because he is miscast. I like the guy. I do. I mean, I have him in my top 13.
So here comes my next question, though. So why does he keep getting miscast? Because now, I mean, he's been through like 6 coaching changes in Arizona. So why do they keep doing it would be my question.
I don't have a good answer to that. I do not have a good answer to that. Last year, he played more snaps at free safety than he played in the box, which is just insane to me. Maybe one day a coach will get it. I don't know. I don't have a good answer to that.
All right, and then number 13.
Derwin James.
Derwin James.
Reputation is better than the play at this point, but I still think there's a lot of talent.
Yeah.
He's another one that gets labeled as injury prone. No, he was hurt twice, back to back. And then I think he's missed 3 games for injury in the last 3 years. But he's labeled as injury prone.
Oh, and again, once you get that label and once we see it, because he was such a star that once he got hurt, it became, okay, well, when he comes back, this whole thing changes. And the team plays into this a lot, too. Like a guy gets hurt, like Marcus Williams gets hurt with Baltimore. You don't really see it that much because he's got a lot of talent around him or behind him. And they can kind of fill those gaps in, and that defense doesn't crumble. When you take Derwin James away from L.A., it feels like that defense has crumbled because of injury. It's just not because of him anymore. But the first 2 years we talked about it, it was him. He got hurt. We expected him to come back and be great. Then he got hurt in the preseason before the season even started, missed the entire 2020 year. And then, the fact that he's missed 5 games in the last 3 years, and you said, what, 2 of those were because he just didn't play?
It was the end of the year. Meaningless
Yeah,
game, and he just sat.
Right. Because why would you risk an injury to your star safety in a game that is meaningless?
The one caveat I will give you is name me the defensive player that played under Brandon Staley with the Chargers, outside of Alohi Gilman, who he's just been good. He was drafted late, but he's just been good. That has played better under Brandon Staley than they played under anybody else. Every player on that defense regressed under Brandon Staley. So don't be shocked if Derwin James has one of those years where you go, oh, yeah, that's what a good coach does.
Right. That's the player that we remember.
All right, that's the end of that list. We got to do we're running up against time here. We have a super chat.
Okay. Super chat?
It's from our buddy Bo Walker, who said if you tip Adam the robot bartender well, he will have you pour you. I feel like that's 100% accurate. As a guy that programs computers, I feel like you could probably put something in there of, hey, slip him a 5. You'd be shocked how heavy-handed he'll get. And the other one is from Fans Since 76. It said, how in the hell did they land on Rotender instead of Barbot? And now I can't unsee that.
The Barbot is fantastic.
That's exactly what it should be called.
Mm-hmm. Maybe somebody already had one and they had it trademarked or something.
And then Patrick Holt said Adrian Barbobot, which I don't understand, but I feel like you're getting ready to tell me it's from a movie that I've never seen.
Nope. Couldn't get there. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
Anyhow, let's get into the the corners.
See, now I could have gotten to Babu Barbot. His name was Babu Bot on Seinfeld.
Top 13 corners in the NFL for 2024. We're going to do this list backwards. We're going to go 13 to 1, count our way up the list here.
Yeah, we don't want to do that thing where we have 5 seconds for the high-end guys.
Yeah.
So we're going to put this in the smaller segment so we have more time to talk about the better guys.
Indeed. So at number 13.
My guy, my jet, DJ Reed.
I was going to say that's way too low to have Sauce Gardner.
Sauce Gardner is reserved for a spot that rhymes with Twan. But I think we all already knew that.
DJ Reed, what's his prognostication? Do you think he's better, worse this year? What do you think?
Well, I mean, look, DJ's just been insanely consistent. For the last 5 years, he has been practically the same guy. Finished in the top 23 of PFF ranking 5 straight years. There are not many corners that can say that, including but not limited to 6 guys that are still on this list. He's just a really good second corner.
Yep.
I wish he was a little bit taller, but he is a baller.
At number 12.
Derek Stingley Jr.
If you had Skilo on the bingo card today.
Let's go.
Congratulations.
Let's go. I got a little sleep last night, so I'm
firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, there probably won't be a piddling on somebody in the woods story today, but it's fun both ways.
Yeah. Number 12.
Derek Stingley Jr. I am firmly of the belief if he wasn't the highest drafted corner in the history of the NFL draft, he wouldn't have been railed on as much as he has. It also doesn't help that Sauce Gardner was taking 1 pick after him.
Yes.
But he was pretty good last year. He was the 9th highest rated corner in the NFL last year. He was awful as a rookie. But I saw enough in coverage last year that he's a legit one. He's a legit one if they can figure out the 2. Who's going to be on the opposite side of him? That would go a long way.
Number 11.
Marshawn Lattimore.
The old man from New Orleans.
You told me
like
PFF didn't have him in their top 32 of the list they did, and that made my brain hurt.
No, they did not. He was not even mentioned as honorable mention.
They've never liked him.
Corners in the league.
Marshawn Lattimore he's really good against bigger receivers. He gets annihilated by smaller, shifty guys.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to know what you're dealing with. Now, I put some of that on Dennis Allen because if you look at him, the 3 best years he's had, one of the 3 was with Dennis Allen.
Mm-hmm.
I still think he's really, really good. And he's only 28 years old. I don't think he fits in that Dennis Allen scheme. And he is, of all the players in New Orleans, not named Derek Carr. I think the guy that would benefit the most from anybody else being in charge of the New Orleans Saints.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't change the fact he's still hyper talented.
He is. And to me, he is, he's one of the most feared opponents that, has ever existed in the NFC South. I can tell you that much. Anybody who can shut down Mike Evans like he's been able to, again, it speaks to him being better against bigger receivers than he is against the smaller, shifty receivers. But that has been one of the, I will say that's one of the greatest one-on-one corner wide receiver year in, year out rivalries that I can remember.
Oh, it's fantastic. I will tell you this. The next guy on my list, it blows my mind how many people like one and don't like the other.
Mm-hmm.
It's Denzel Ward. You want to know why that blows my mind?
Why is that?
Because they're the same guy. They're the exact same player.
Him and Marshawn?
Yes. They're the exact same player. The only difference is that one of them is in a good defensive system and the other one is not. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
If you put Marshawn Lattimore in Cleveland and you put Denzel Ward in New Orleans, Denzel Ward would get a little worse, Marshawn Lattimore would get a little better, and not much else would change. Because you could use them interchangeably. And it blows my mind how many people will just effuse praise on Denzel Ward, who, by the way, who has 2 more top 25 corners on his team, and then hammer Marshawn Lattimore. I've never understood that.
Nope.
They both deserve praise as borderline top 10 corners. Now, if you wanted to push them down a couple spots, I wouldn't fight you on it. I didn't do it. And then I think they're a step behind what is largely a veteran list of guys that are in about their 4th or 5th year.
And we'll get into that list after the top of the hour here on ESPN Asheville. 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. Daily Draft coming up after the break. Worst trades in sports history coming up next.
If you snore or you have been diagnosed with
Clear. Thank you.
Not breathing adequately at night, and we all need a good night's sleep. A custom oral sleep appliance is perfect for
Delusion.
CPAP for their obstructive sleep apnea. And if you have that prescription for an oral appliance from your physician, you can take it to Asheville Smiles Cosmetic and Family Dentistry, and they will do the rest. If you've not
Are you there?
sleep apnea, and maybe you think you have
Are
it,
you
then
not
Dr.
hearing me?
Merrill is happy to help.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. I was about to
Apnea
say, I said
screening.
yep 3
Find
times.
out more online at Asheville Smiles.
My bad.
World-class dental care with a hometown feel.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
This summer, Dale's Pale Ale salutes freedom. Freedom in fabric, or the fabric of freedom. Denim Dale's available for a limited time in the blue jean box. Dale's salutes everyone who works hard, plays hard, and relaxes hard. Life's more than about what you pack in your dinner. Though, we're packing beer, so we win. Seize the Dales. Unwind in style with a cool breeze up the jorts. Just look for the beer in the blue jean box.
There's a lot of talk about heroes these days.
Hey, buddy, you want to go fishing?
The folks in the funny outfits with superpowers and spandex.
All right, buddy, let me help you.
But at Ingalls, we know that a lot of our heroes
Now you look like a frog.
are a little closer to home. They're the ones who give us what we need for those everyday adventures. That's why we look up to the ones who look out for us.
Don't forget your fish food. Catch a big one.
Ingalls.
See you later, Dad.
All the ingredients for family.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Warm afternoon, but a northerly flow keeping the humidity down. Lots of sunshine, a beauty of a day, right around 85. Tonight, mainly clear, 63. Now, tomorrow's low pressure comes north. We'll see a few showers, thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening hours. Small chance, but there's a better chance toward the east. And if you are headed to the beach for the weekend, there's a better chance toward the beaches. And then sunshine will return here Saturday and Sunday with highs in the low 90s. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's new Saucy Nugs, a whole new way to nug. The best nugs are now even better. Wendy's new Saucy Nugs take the nugs you love and sauce them up in bold flavors, including buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, and spicy ghost pepper. Try them all today. For a whole new way to nug, it's gotta be Wendy's, a participating U.S. Wendy's.
2 guys, 5 rings. Yes. One essential podcast for the 2024 Paris Olympics. Bowen Yang and Matt Rogers host a new podcast that's all about the athletes.
You gotta get your head in the game, as Zac Efron once said.
And the culture.
Not French.
Well,
I have no association with the nation of France. But you did live in Montreal.
Of the 2024 Paris Olympics. Listen to 2 Guys, 5 Rings on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app, search 2 Guys, 5 Rings, and start listening.
WWNC.com.
With live, local breaking news.
And the latest weather and traffic updates.
It's the website.
All right, we're coming back.
10 people who want to know
And
what's going on.
News Radio 570 WWNC.
ESPN Asheville is WPEK W225CJ Fairview, WMFX Waynesville, an iHeart radio station, the exclusive audio home of NBC's coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympics.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, check. That's check. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com.
Live from the Ingalls studio,
I can't wait to play with myself every day.
the Sportsocracy.
Damn the devil to hell! Let the big dog see! Let him on the field!
Come get you some of this.
Fire them cannons! By golly, put more powder in those things.
He couldn't take any more disappointment.
Oh, my God. The Jets killed him.
It is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. The Sportsocracy is heard everywhere you go on the iHeart Radio app, seen everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel. Join us in the chat. I'm live in the Ingalls studio. He is live at Mullet Manor, and it is time for the daily draft. The subject of worst sports trades in history came up today because, Jamal Adams, who was once involved in a very terrible trade between the New York Jets and the Seattle Seahawks, was picked up by the Tennessee Titans today. It also brought to mind Seattle getting fleeced, or Seattle fleecing the Denver Broncos in the Russell Wilson trade. So do either of those break down the walls of the worst trades of all time? That is the subject of today's Daily Draft, brought to you by Dale's Pale Ale. Number 1 pick.
I'll let you have it.
You going to let me have it?
I'll let you have it.
Okay, well, the worst trade of all time has to be a player for money. And it's Babe Ruth.
Oh, good Lord. You talk about not knowing your audience. We could have gone 20 rounds and I'd have never come up with that one.
Well, that's dumb because that is the dumbest move in the history of sports.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure in those moving pictures, they were real upset about that one.
Absolutely, they were.
That was before my grandfather was born, so
$100,000 is what the Red Sox traded Babe Ruth for to the New York Yankees, and of course everybody knows what followed after that.
Yeah, the only thing is that with inflation, that $100,000 is like a gajillion now.
Well, that is very true, but still doesn't make it easier that you had to go through 86 years of futility after that happened. This is the dumbest sports move ever.
Look, it was bad. I didn't think about that one even kind of a little bit, to be really honest with you.
That's wild.
I feel like I have to play the game here, which is I want to walk away with the 6 worst trades. I don't think you're going to get the one that I value to be the worst ever. So I'm going to take my 2 and 3 right here.
Okay.
Russell Wilson is 2. The Russell Wilson move by the Denver Broncos is just fractionally worse than what I think the worst trade of all time was. And I want you to just think about what it actually did. So it saved the Seattle Seahawks from a monumentally stupid decision to trade for Jamal Adams, where they basically gave up Garrett Wilson and another player for a guy who could not play. Now, that might change. He had one good year in Seattle, but then you were able to parlay Russell Wilson into salvaging your franchise. Meanwhile, you gave up all these picks in Denver, and you've done nothing but get worse since, until now you're sitting here going, sweet, we have the worst roster in the league. You know why? Because you gave up a bajillion picks to get a terrible quarterback. Over the hill and overrated to begin with. Oh, and you gave up 3 players, too. Not that any of them were special, but Shelby Harris would have helped. Just to throw that out there. By the way, I found this. You ever look at the memories thing on Facebook?
Sometimes.
So I get to see the memories of both the show and off my personal Facebook. We did a daily draft 2 years ago today where we drafted quarterbacks we would start a franchise with.
Okay.
This just popped up, and I laughed a lot. You got Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen.
All right.
Do you know who your other 4 were?
No clue.
Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Derek Carr. I had Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Trevor Lawrence, Tom Brady, and then I had this pick at the end of that everybody told me I was an idiot for, C.J. Stroud. That
was last year?
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
That was 2 years
ago. You went
ago.
C.J. Stroud 2 years ago when he wasn't even in the league?
I did. I did. And I laughed when I saw that and went, holy good googly moo, you got eviscerated in You got the 2 best quarterbacks in the league and still somehow got drugged down the sidewalk. How did that happen?
I'm just good like that.
And the guy I took first has been hurt twice since. Anyway, I will now take the one that I know you will take if I don't do it, which is the Herschel Walker trade.
Yes.
You gave up 5 players and 8 draft picks for a running back who was, we'll say, on the backside as it's had. And Dallas wound up with, I don't know, the makings of a dynasty off that one trade. It's the only time in NFL history that I have ever seen 2 teams, Seattle with the deal for Russell Wilson and Dallas with the deal with Minnesota for Herschel Walker, where they literally built rosters around the core that you gave them.
And Dallas went on, of course, to be the dynasty of the 90s that it was. And one of the draft picks that was used in the Herschel Walker trade ended up being Emmitt Smith,
who was a better running back than the running back you traded for.
Yes. Also, Darren Woodson was one of the picks that came out of that deal.
As was Larry Allen.
Oh, that's right. Wow.
Yeah.
It just got worse and worse and worse as we went along there.
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Herschel Walker was definitely going to be my next selection, so you played that well.
And I got my 2 and 3, and I am almost positive that you won't take my number 1.
Good for you. I don't know how else to respond to that. Number 2 for me is it's Kobe. Kobe for Vlade Divac. Yay! Charlotte Hornets drafting Kobe Bryant and immediately trading him away. I don't care that he didn't want to come play for Charlotte. It doesn't matter to me. On paper, that's one of the dumbest things you'll ever see.
Yeah, that would have been my 4. Because that was just horrific bad. And look, I like you said, I know it was orchestrated behind the scenes. He told Charlotte he wouldn't play for them. Okay, people say that a lot. John Elway said that. Eli Manning said that. Kobe Bryant said that. So what are you going to do if I call your bluff?
Precisely.
Has anybody ever done that? Like, oh, you won't play for us? Cool. Let's find out.
Well, I mean, John did, and it ended up working. John Elway said, absolutely not. I will not play for the Indianapolis Colts, and he forced them into trading it.
Okay, and he did say that. You're 100% right. There's 2 things about that you're gleaning over just a skosh. One, he was a top pick in the baseball draft, so he had an option.
Yes.
2, he didn't miss 1 snap. They traded him after the draft. So, yeah, he went to spring training with the Yankees and blah, 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 blah. He didn't actually miss a snap. They never put his feet to the fire and said, well, what will you do if we don't trade you? You can tell me that all you want to. When September rolls around, I have a funny feeling that you'll be in this helmet.
Jim Kelly, he did that.
Jim Kelly did do that. And then he wound up playing for the team that drafted him anyway.
And he went to the USFL.
He did. And then he went to play for the Buffalo Bills anyway.
That is true.
That was the next thing I was going to say. Yeah, actually, Buffalo did it once. And guess what? He saw it my way.
It still worked. Right?
He saw it my way. Took 2 years, but you eventually came around.
Yeah, I just think if it had not happened, would Charlotte have just not done it? Would you have not drafted him out of fear that he was going to sit out? I mean, I guess that was like the 13th pick in that draft. So they weren't the only one that missed out on Kobe Bryant. It's not like Kobe was the number 1 pick coming out of Lower Merion High School.
He would have gone higher, except he had basically told teams, I only want to play for the Lakers.
Right.
Famously, John Calipari wanted to take him with the New Jersey at the time Nets, and settled for Kerry Kittles.
Mm-hmm. That paid off well.
Yeah, that went nicely.
All right, so I'll do the Jeremy Greene thing. All right, so you've given me my 1 and 2. Now, I got to go Ricky Williams.
Oh, and you gave me my 1, 2, and 3. I didn't, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't think about Ricky Williams.
Really?
I mean,
famously trading away an entire draft class for that running back, and I get that he was good for a couple of years, but I don't think that ended how you wanted it to.
Oh, it was brutal. Don't get me wrong, that was a brutal move. Not like New Orleans did a lot with the picks they got. That would be I shouldn't have said I didn't think about that. It was on my list. It was just further down my list.
Okay.
It sounds terrible when you hear it until you realize, yes, New Orleans did give up every draft pick they had. They didn't have a second-round pick. The first-round pick was late in the first round. They gave up a 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, and none of those guys turned into squat.
Mm.
It was dumb. I agree. It's a good pick. It should have been higher up my list. Should have been higher up my list. I will give you that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I feel like I've teased this. I want to take the break early.
We could do that.
Because I have teased this, and I want to see if anybody in the chat can get the move that I'm talking about. which has now, for me, in the last 12 months, it has passed Russell Wilson and it has passed Herschel Walker as the worst trade in the history of sports.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. Back with the answer next.
This weekend, the small town that...
And we're clear.
Blues.
Thank you.
It's the Black Mountain Blues. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in downtown Black Mountain. 46 acts, hundreds of musicians, true blues music over 3 days. Featuring great blues musicians like Corey Harris, Mac Arnold and the Plate Full of Blues, Sugar Ray Rayford, Bob Margolin, and a whole lot more. VIP, 3-day, and single-day tickets all on sale. It's the Black Mountain Blues this weekend. More info and tickets at blackmountainblues.org.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects, but you got the idea. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's.
Gotta be fresh.
At participating U.S. Wendy's.
Is arthritic joint pain keeping you from doing the things you love? Bone-on-bone pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulder? There are exciting new cellular therapies that can get you lasting relief. QC Kinetics is helping patients like you every day. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. Cutting-edge treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. If you're living with chronic pain from arthritis or injury, you need to know steroids and surgery and pain pills are no longer your only option. Learn how QC Kinetics can treat the pain, enhance your joints, restore your mobility, and give you long-term relief with no downtime. The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are ready to help you get your life back with regenerative, restorative cellular treatments for your achy joints. In Asheville and in Greenville, call for a free consultation now. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
This summer, Dale's Pale Ale salutes freedom. Freedom in fabric, or the fabric of freedom. Denim Dale's available for a limited time in the blue jean box. Dale's salutes everyone who works hard, plays hard, and relaxes hard. Life's more than about what you pack in your dinner. Though, we're packing beer, so we win. Seize the Dales. Unwind in style with a cool breeze up the jorts. Just look for the beer in the blue jean box.
Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics have teamed up under new ownership by an Asheville native to better serve our community with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the best price. Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics can customize whatever you, your team, business, or local group may need through high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving right here in Asheville. Free personal delivery within Buncombe County and a reduced delivery fee anywhere in Western North Carolina. Visit ShowtimeSportsAVL.com and MountainGraphicsAVL.com. Your one-stop custom apparel shops.
Now's the time to get in the driver's seat of your career. Ingalls Markets is looking for new regional drivers to join our Lando Sky Distributors fleet. Begin earning paid time off on your first day. Our drivers average $80,000 per year and they're home every week. Lando Sky offers excellent pay, full benefits, and 401k matching. No experience? Apply for our driver trainee program. Visit inglescareers.com to know more. That's inglescareers.com.
The Sportsocracy.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man!
It is the continuation of the daily draft here in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, focusing on the worst trades in sports history for today's daily draft. Jeremy is set to make his third selection in the draft, which he says is his number one all-time stupidest, most lopsided trade in history. But you knew I wouldn't take it because I, had to focus on Babe Ruth at number one.
Well, as soon as you took Babe Ruth, I went, oh. Because I figured you would take one of the two NFL trades that I already took. I was chalking up that I wasn't going to get Herschel Walker. As soon as you took Babe Ruth, I went, that means I probably don't have to take this now. And it's not because I thought you were overlooking it for other sports or anything like that. It was because I don't think you realize how bad it was.
Okay.
Stephen Tao said it in the chat earlier. It was the Deshaun Watson trade. It's the worst trade in NFL history because now we're done with the compensation. Would you like to hear what Houston got for Deshaun Watson, who I'm not sure is the best quarterback on that roster right now?
Yes.
I'll do it in reverse order of importance. Linebacker Jamal Hill, Damian Pierce, John Mechie, Christian Harris, Cade Stover, Kamari Lassiter, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, and Will Anderson Jr. That's what they got for Deshaun Watson. Every one of those picks came directly out of that trade. They traded down and used what they got to accumulate everybody I just said. And I didn't even give them credit for the fact you got to 3 allowed you to take CJ Stroud. This is the worst trade in the history of the NFL, and it's not even close. The Houston Texans may win a Super Bowl this year, having gone from the worst roster in the NFL to arguably the best because of one quarterback that they didn't even want. I didn't realize it until about 2 weeks ago. Because one of my favorite little games to play is go back and look at who did those draft picks become? I've never figured out why people don't do that. Because it's instead of just, hey, we got 3 fourth-round picks. No, we got Tali Hufanga and 2 other players that play meaningful snaps. So I did this with the Deshaun Watson deal. How many players in that deal? Take the contracts out. Just talent for talent. How many players in that deal would the Houston Texans have traded Deshaun Watson for straight up, knowing what we know now?
Oh,
Stephon Diggs for sure.
Yes.
Tank Dell for sure. Will Anderson for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the lottery picks of Kamari Lassiter and Christian Harris, who I think Christian Harris might be better than Deshaun Watson at this point. I've never seen anything like it, and I didn't even notice it.
Yeah.
I knew Houston had been bouncing around the board, and I knew it was coming off the draft capital that they got from Cleveland. I didn't realize that every one of those picks directly tied back to Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
You took a roster that was as bad as any as I've ever seen, and in one move, with a quarterback you had on your roster for a full season and did not even put him on the field, you built a Super Bowl contender. I can't say that about any move other than Herschel Walker.
Well, and then you take into account that, yes, and I did the same thing Stephen Tao did. Like, I didn't even think about the Deshaun Watson thing because I went, well, he was just signed. I forgot about all of the draft capital that they got in that deal as well. Because
that was the other element
you
of it.
follow that up with the worst quarterback contract ever assigned.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out of that, and it makes the deal even worse for the Cleveland Browns, and who's shocked that it's the Browns that pulled off the move.
And now, this is the reason I had it. I gave you all the reasons I have it at 1 for Houston. Here's the reason I have it at 1 for Cleveland. How many quarterbacks have been acquired either by the draft or in straight signings that would have made Cleveland a Super Bowl contender? This deal happened 3 years ago. It was in 2022, so we've had the 22 offseason, 23, and 24.
Mm-hmm.
In that time, you've had Kirk Cousins move teams. You've had no less than 7 franchise quarterbacks drafted. Now, that was a bad year for the draft. I get it. You've had Gardner Minshew. You've had just name after name after name after name that is now starting or in a position to start. How many of those guys would make Cleveland a Super Bowl contender right now? If Kirk Cousins was the starter of the Cleveland Browns, and take out that he can't play outside and he can't play in primetime, if Kirk Cousins was the starter of the Cleveland Browns right now, would you not look at them as a team that could legitimately win a Super Bowl?
Yes.
Do you look at them that way with Deshaun Watson?
No.
And you're stuck. Mm-hmm. Because the only way you got him to agree to that deal is by fully guaranteeing the contract. So not only did you prop up Houston with a player they didn't even want, you took their headache and made it your own personal migraine. It's the worst trade in NFL history. It's the worst trade in sports history, and it's getting worse.
With every piece of development, yeah, by those players that they got. You're right.
Oh, and Stephen Tao said, and they could have had Joe Flacco the whole time. He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
He is wrong. Joe Flacco does not make them a contender.
Joe Flacco took him to the playoffs last year.
Stop that.
Deshaun Watson hasn't taken him anywhere but the massage parlor, and he's not even welcome there anymore. So, okay, I knew you were thinking of that as a free agent signing. I was afraid you were going to see it in the chat, and it was going to click in your head. Oh, yeah, they did trade for him. And you were going to go down the rabbit hole.
I saw it in the chat, and it still didn't click in my brain. So kudos to you for getting that one. Yeah, that's, man, worse and worse by the day.
Worse and worse by the day.
Yep. All right, your fourth selection.
Now this one was a little bit hard for me because there are several that I want. But there's one that I have been so dogmatic about how bad it was for one side. It was the Falcons trading up for Michael Vick. The sheer fact, and now I'm going to go deeper down a rabbit hole here. You gave up arguably the best running back in NFL history. LaDainian Tomlinson was who they took with that pick. The other picks they got in that, because they didn't give up a ton, the other picks they got in that were Tay Cody, Rashay Caldwell, and then they added Tim Dwight. Tim Dwight had a little role for a few years. Michael Vick hamstrung your franchise because he was so popular up until he wasn't. Then you had everything with the dogs. Then you got stuck with Matt Ryan. And Matt Ryan was fine. He was the best quarterback in a bad quarterback draft. And so I'm going three-dimensional chess here, but I'm taking the Michael Vick trade with my fourth selection.
Okay. Not a bad one. My next two selections are going to come from the hardwood. Dial back to, well, before, you have to go back just a little bit before I was born for this one. But the Boston Celtics, the trade that they made with the Golden State Warriors to get Robert Parrish and Kevin McHale, or I guess the pick that would become Kevin McHale. They set their franchise up for, what was that? 4 NBA championships in the 1980s by creating really the first big three that the NBA had, with Larry Bird, Robert Parrish, and Kevin McHale. Two of those three came from the Golden State Warriors, all in one deal. And then my fifth pick is the Scottie Pippen trade. Scottie Pippen goes to the Chicago Bulls, which we all know, pairing him up with Michael Jordan, then, of course, led to the 6 championships and the record-breaking runs and all of that. The Seattle Seahawks, though, traded Scottie Pippen and got back Olden Polynice. Really paid off. Really paid off.
So basically, I've taken all the football trades, and you've taken every other sport.
Yes.
Well, I feel like there's no better. Might as well just keep on going. I'll go Brett Favre, the Falcons trading him to the Packers in 92. And I'll tie that back to the Michael Vick thing of, if you hadn't done that, you'd have never drafted Michael Vick, you'd have never had Matt Ryan, you'd have never been stuck in purgatory for 25 years. There's 2 more that I want, and I can't figure out which one to take right here. I've looked at the DeAndre Hopkins thing, and I keep thinking about it.
The DeAndre Hopkins, David Johnson trade.
Which was awful, and it led to such a bleak time in your franchise because that was really the beginning of the end.
Yes.
The reason I'm not going to take that is because I think the end was coming anyway. Because all the things that happened with Deshaun Watson, they were happening no matter what. That just put it under a little bit more of a microscope.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had traded away the best player on the team. Then all this happens with the quarterback, and it makes this franchise look like it's completely inept. I will go the Indianapolis Colts trading for Trent Richardson and giving up a first-round pick. He was not good in Cleveland. He was fine. Nothing to jump up and down about, but it was so obvious that there was something going on there, and then you trade for him, and he went off the rails. To a point of he never got another shot in the league, a legit shot in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So I will have taken six football trades, and I will give you every other sport.
Well, thank you.
I didn't do that on purpose.
My final selection, I'll go with the John Elway deal. Traded by the Baltimore Colts to the Denver Broncos for somebody named Mark Herman.
Oh, it was bad. I mean, he forced your hand
pick.
because he did have the outlet of baseball.
He did. He had another option and kind of forced your hand there. But there again, if I did Kobe, I couldn't let John Elway go for the same reasons. It was regardless of what he said, you still gave up one of the greatest players in your sport of all time for nothing, basically.
Did you consider other trades that we didn't talk about here?
Not extensively. I mean, there are a whole bunch in baseball that you could get into, but I limited it to the greatest one in baseball history, in the Babe Ruth deal.
Mine was the Jazz trading away Magic Johnson by accident, and Dirk Nowitzki for Robert Tractor Trailer. It was hard for me to put NBA.
That was so close.
It's hard for me to put NBA trades in here. I also considered the Nets taking every old dude that the Celtics had and basically just giving them a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Carmelo Anthony was up there too, but I'm a Nuggets fan, so the Magic Johnson one, that's kind of why I can't do that, because they have that stupid lottery, and so yeah, things can go really bad. They also could have gone really not bad, like it. Mm-hmm. The Magic Johnson one didn't have the lottery at the time. But they had no clue they were giving up a pick that was going to be that high because they weren't supposed to be that bad.
Yep. You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. The Daily Draft, brought to you by our good friends at Dale's Pale Ale. Look for the beer in the blue jean box, available at a store near you through the summer. We have to take a break. When we come back from the break, well, are we doing the crimes, or do we need to blow that out?
No, we can do crimes. I've got a good crime story today.
All right, we'll do crimes when we come back from the break. The most important message of the day, and we will round out the top 13 corners for 2024. Up next.
This is your
and we're clear.
Thank
forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Warm afternoon with a northerly flow, keeping the humidity down. Lots of sunshine, a beauty of a day, right around 85. Tonight, mainly clear, 63. Now, tomorrow's low pressure comes north. We'll see a few showers, thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening hours. Small chance, but there's a better chance toward the east. And if you are heading to the beach for the weekend, there's a better chance toward the beaches. And then sunshine will return here Saturday and Sunday with highs in the low 90s. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by the solar experts at Renew Energy Solutions.
If you've recently lost power, you're at the mercy of your utility. Become energy independent with solar plus battery backup from the experts at Renew Energy Solutions. Call 828-203-2934 or visit renewenergysolutions.com.
Hey, if you're listening to me right now, I have one thing every business needs most: attention. Think about it. We swipe and scroll past stuff all day. But when we're driving, cooking, and working out, we're also listening. That's the magic of audio at iHeart. We're in your next customer's ears while they're living life and listening, just like you are right now. So get your customers to listen up today using radio, digital, and podcasts. Visit iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
WWNC is Western North Carolina's news and information station.
On your radio and on your phone with the free iHeartRadio app.
You'll have the smartest smartphone in town.
News Radio 570 WWNC.
Life hack number 7. Get an iPhone 12 on Straight Talk.
Life hack.
Here's how it works. You walk into Walmart, go to the electronics section, ask for iPhone 12 with 5G and a dual camera system, and select the new Silver Unlimited plan. They'll smile because it's a good plan. You get real unlimited data all for just $20 a month for the whole first year. Get it at Walmart or StraightTalk.com. Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Taxes and fees apply. Requires activation of iPhone 12 and a new Silver Unlimited plan or higher end auto pay enrollment. $25 a month service credit applied for up to 12 months if eligibility requirements are met. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com.
At Progressive, we know there's a lot of things you can track. Steps, calories, heart rate, your pet steps, screen time, the whereabouts of your favorite celebrity, how long you slept, how long you didn't sleep, how long you thought about sleeping, how long you thought about sleeping. But none of these things could save you money, unlike Snapshot from Progressive, which customizes your rate based on how and how much you drive. It's much better for your bottom line than tracking your Cocker Spaniel's resting heart rate. So download the Progressive app today.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving. At Ingles, we're all in for summer. Whether you're hitting the trails, hitting the water, or hitting the golf ball, we have everything you need for the perfect picnic, the greatest grill out, and the best beach vacation. We know that the mountains are calling, the open road awaits, and that pool party is ready to rock. So head on over to Ingles and stock up on all the goodies to get you through your summer of freedom. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. Download our free app on Google Play or the App Store. Type in Asheville Home Search. You'll be able to connect with our team and see all the available homes for sale in our area. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
We are back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, and it's time for the most important message of the day.
Don't do crimes!
And let's go to Oregon. A place called Springfield, Oregon. It's somewhere around Eugene. Springfield police over the weekend stopped an organized crime ring. When you think organized crime, Jeremy, what do you think these folks are dealing in?
Well, when I think organized crime, I originally think of the United States government, but that's because I'm a conspiracy theorist. So,
good for you. That's a good answer. But you would typically think, a long time ago, you think booze, cigarettes, illegal drugs, things like that.
I'm thinking union jobs in New Jersey, Bob.
Running the trash service, taking folks to the train station, that kind of stuff. There was a special kind of organized crime ring going on up in Oregon where there was a store owner that was paying people to go to other stores, steal their product, bring it back to him, so then he could sell it in his store. And he might have got away with it, too, if he hadn't been so stupid about it. Because when police started getting some tips from, I don't know, the actual thieves themselves, that kind of busts up your ring. Because This guy he deals in toys. He has a toy store. And not like an adult toy store. It's a toy store. And he was having basically what is described in the story as drug addicts go to other stores, Target, Walmart, Barnes & Noble, and steal Lego sets and bring them back to him so then he could sell them in his store. But then he was stiffing them, giving them basically just pennies on the dollar for what these things are actually worth. And when the drug addicts, who weren't getting what they thought they would get out of stealing the Lego sets for this guy, they went and told police. Which the story does not detail how that ended up for them. But in the end, when they did the bust, they found 4,153 stolen Lego sets inside this guy's store. $200,000 worth of Legos.
And many broken feet to be had.
No doubt about it.
Tank, have you ever heard of the chain restaurant Roosters?
I've not heard of Roosters.
Roosters is really popular in Ohio. It is a chicken wing establishment. We may see it in a few weeks when we go to the Hall of Fame. A few days ago, they made a call to police because someone had broken into their coop. 3 a.m., they call Hilliard, Ohio police and tell them that their security footage caught a man wearing leopard print pajamas that had broken into their establishment, and then it appeared that he went into the pet store next door.
Mm-hmm.
So, police are on the look for a man wearing leopard print pajamas, which should not be that hard to find.
No, I would think.
This is where they had their first interaction with one Mr. Matthew Pancake. That's his legal name. I swear to you that is his legal name. And if you watch the video of what I'm getting ready to say, it makes it so much funnier. Mr. Pancake had a busy night. He broke into the Roosters, and apparently breaking into the Roosters gave him the idea to break into a pet store. So they go to the pet store before they find Mr. Pancake. They recovered 2 dogs, multiple birds, a hamster, and 2 bunnies that were in the parking lot of the establishment. But they were missing a few other critters. 4:45, they find their suspect, one, Mr. Matthew Pancake, sleeping on a park bench near Big Lots. He is still wearing the leopard print pajamas that they had seen on camera. They forcibly move him off the bench and arrest him, at which point they find 2 more of their woodland creatures because he had 2 gerbils in his pocket.
Oh. Well,
he had also broken into a shoe store and was wearing shoes that he had stolen from the shoe store.
Mm-hmm.
This is one time that I don't even think a public defender will take this case of, I don't think there's any getting out of this. We have you in the clothes you were wearing shoes you stole, and you had 2 hamster friends in your pocket.
Mm-hmm. All right, now I want you to tell me that the guy sleeping on a park bench in his leopard print onesie pajamas, which you did not specify that. This is a full, zip up the front onesie.
Yeah, they are.
With gerbils in his pocket.
Uh-huh.
You don't think that guy has an insanity defense here? I do.
Oh, first of all, insanity does not work as often as people think. 2, insanity, you will be in an asylum for far longer than you would be in jail. So, I mean, you can do that if you want to. And frankly, I support it. Dog, you had gerbils in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even want to know what you were intending on doing with them. Because the thing I didn't tell you is the shoes he's wearing were women's shoes.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Just throwing it out there. You do with that information what you will.
I'm not throwing stones.
Hey, like you do you. You live your best life, bro.
Exactly.
Just maybe leave the gerbils out of it. Biscuit and Whisker there, they didn't have anything to do with this. You leave them alone.
I think you could have come up with better names for him than that, but it is what it is.
Are you sure?
Top 13
Are you sure
quarterbacks in the league for 2024. We'll continue. Round out the list here. Today's coverage of the best players in the secondaries across the NFL. We left off the list in the last hour. We had just done number 10. I'll recap the corners for you here. We started at 13. 13 was DJ Reed. 12 was Derek Stingley Jr. of the Houston Texans. Marshawn Lattimore at 11. And then Denzel Ward of the Cleveland Browns at 10. Number 9 corner for 2024 is who, Flostradamus?
Devin Witherspoon. I saw enough out of him last year that I can tell you straight up that kid's going to be a star. And you add in the fact that now he's got Mike McDonald as his head coach, he's really going to be a star.
Mm-hmm.
He's so physical. He's so good off the edge. I mean, look, and they talked about this kid ad nauseum during training camp last year. And you add that to the fact you got Reek Woolen on the outside that can run with bigger, taller receivers. That's going to be a really interesting defense to watch over the course of the next handful of years.
Yes.
Oh, and by the way, that pick that they used to take Devin Witherspoon, guess where it came from? The Denver Broncos.
That Denver trade. No doubt that, as soon as they took him, the conversation immediately started with the success that Tariq Woolen had in his first year of, oh my God, we're rebuilding the Legion of Boom here.
And I still think they could be. Reek was not as good last year as he was in year one.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that more had to do with the erosion of the defense, the erosion of the coaching staff, and kind of a bad draw with the schedule. He's another one of those guys. He's so tall that shiftier guys are always going to mess with him, even though he's really, really fast. And Mike McDonald, I think, is going to make very good use.
Number 8.
Jair Alexander. In terms of sheer player, he deserves to be higher than this. The problem is he's hurt all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a little bit of a head case. But, man, when he's on the field, he is so good.
He's a head case on the field, off the field, both.
He's just he's an enigmatic kind of guy. I mean, you remember the deal with the coin flip against the Panthers?
Where he named himself captain and walked out on the field.
He's a weird guy. But he's a really talented kid. If he could just stay on the field. That defense is so different with him on the field versus when he's off. And I don't have an analytical metric for that. I'm sure somewhere out there is one. But you just watch them on film, and you see how different they are when he's out. And over the course of the last 3 years, he missed one game in 22. In 21 and 23 combined, he played 11 games total.
Your best ability is your availability, and if you're not available, then I have to ding you for that. I feel like we already talked about that in the last hour.
In terms of sheer talent, I'd have him in the top 3. But I can't overlook the fact that he has not played a full season one time since 2019.
Yep. Number 7.
This one I feel like is going to get some pushback, and it shouldn't. It's Jalen Ramsey. I get it. He didn't fit into.
The pushback is that he has fallen off that much.
Well, he didn't really fit into the Vic Fangio defense.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people that think he's never really duplicated what he was in 2017. The thing people seem to forget is that he gets thrown away from a lot. There's a reason for that. Now, he didn't fit with Vic Fangio at all. I think it will be considerably better with Anthony Weaver than it was Vic Fangio.
Mm-hmm. Is he getting to a point where the decline is going to come real quickly with him, or do you think he's got several quality years left in him?
Well, I mean, he'll turn 30 during the season, the week before Halloween. I think he's got a handful of 2 or 3 more really solid number one, no doubt, corner years left. I also he's always been a guy I thought that eventually would play safety and do the Rod Woodson thing of I've aged out of being a true lockdown corner, and now I'm going to slide back and play safety, whether that's in Miami or somewhere else. Tends to be somewhere else.
Well, and because we've seen the really good in him, he does get overanalyzed in that sense of, oh my God, what's happened to Jalen Ramsey? Did you see this play? How many of the blown plays get popped out there by his naysayers? Right? It seems like every couple of weeks I see somebody put out a Jalen Ramsey got burned reel, or at least last year I was. And maybe that just speaks to how bad he was last year. But those instances have happened more and more over the last few years. And so maybe he has lost a step as a corner and needs to make that transition to safety at some point.
Well, he's lost a step for sure. He's still a number one corner in this league.
Mm-hmm. At number 6,
Jalen Johnson. He was the best corner in football last year. He had never been that before. And I'm not trying to diminish that. I just see him really high on a lot of these lists. And ESPN hasn't put out their official list yet, but I have a funny feeling he's going to be in the top 5. And it's all based off 1 year where they played a god-awful schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's really, really good. He was out of this world last year. And I'll just give you a point of reference. First 3 years in the league, the highest his PFF grade ever was 64.2. He was a 90.8 last year.
Wow.
I don't know that I've ever seen a guy do that. Every team in the NFL could have had Jalen Johnson for a 4th-round pick a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
None of them did it. There's a reason for that. Now, that was a mistake.
Clearly.
But he doesn't need to be any higher than this. You put him ahead of any of the next 5 guys I'm getting ready to say, and I think you're smoking crimes.
All right, at number 5.
L'Jarius Sneed.
Making the move to the Tennessee Titans. It's going to transform their secondary. How much will Kansas City regret it is my question.
I don't think they will, because they position themselves so well taking Joshua Williams, and you know they still have a guy that's on this list. Mm-hmm. I do think L'Jarius Sneed's going into a different situation. I don't know that we will look at him as the 5th best corner in the league a year from now. I think we will, because as we started the show off with, I think Tennessee is better than other people do. I don't know how he's going to age, though. L'Jarius Sneed, even though this is just his 5th year in the league, he'll be 28 before the season ends. That's one of the reasons that Kansas City didn't pay him.
Mm-hmm.
Is that you look at, the end of that deal may not be great. But as of right now, I don't see a way that anybody would make a top 5 list and not have him in it.
Yep. And number 4.
Pat Surtain II. I get it.
The only good player for the Denver Broncos.
Basically, yeah. I get it. Last year wasn't awesome. There was also nothing. There's just nothing on that defense. I mean, just go take a look at their depth chart one day and figure out who's the 2nd best defensive player on that team. It's really hard to figure out because they just don't have anything. And I think that caught up with him last year, is that they just put him on an island and said, go deal with it. They couldn't get consistent pass rush. He was being asked to cover for an obnoxiously long time. And I wish he played anywhere else. Any other team in the NFL, I don't care. I wish he played anywhere else.
Yep. Wow. Who is it? Who is the number 2 on that team for you?
Baron Browning,
Zach?
probably.
I was going to say like Zach
Zach Allen was the other one I was considering. That team is awful.
Yeah. Number 3.
Charvarius Ward. I think he is a little bit of a product of that system.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it should not be an irony that the system that San Francisco plays, 2 of the top 3 corners in the league play in it. But, man, in that system, he's so good. I mean, small school guy. He's really just now hitting his prime. He's in the same boat as L'Jarius Sneed. He was older when he got here than most guys are. But he's turned into a straight-up elite corner. And even with the regression of the rest of the defense, I don't think that that's going to change anything with him.
Yeah. This will be his 3rd year in San Francisco, and made the transition quite nicely.
And it's not ironic that the first 4 years he was never better than the 22nd best corner in the league. He's never been worse than 6th in San Francisco.
Wow.
Sometimes guys are just miscast. And he was.
All right, number 2.
Trent McDuffie.
Another Kansas City Chief product.
Do you see the irony of how many of these guys were drafted by Kansas City? That's 3 of the top 4, and they didn't have a chance at the other one.
Right. Trent McDuffie is great, but he is no
Sauce Gardner.
Number 1 from the New York Football Jets.
He's the best corner in the league. It's not really all that close. It's the only position in football. Sauce is the number 1 corner. Pat Mahomes is the number 1 quarterback. That's the only 2. To me, it's not debatable. If you told me anybody else, I would laugh at you.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, look, Tank, I believe you can attest to this. I try to be intentionally harder on the Jets.
Yes.
Sauce is just that good.
Mm-hmm.
There are times it looks like he is playing with guys. Even if you get a step on him, he's so long and so lean that he can catch up. And I think he would be that good in a straight man scheme too. You know, Trent McDuffie, I think he would be good in any scheme. And when you and I started building this list earlier, you said McDuffie, and I went, no, he's not my 2. And the more down the rabbit hole I went, yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is.
Because that's the 2, those 3, Sauce, McDuffie, and Charvarius Ward. That's the 3 guys. I do not care who you put on the opposite side of them. You're not going to like how this goes.
Mm-hmm.
And one on the way out, Cedric Jones said, is it just the homer in me that I expected to see A.J. Terrell on this list? He was 14.
He almost made the list.
He did make the list, draft. And then I took him off for DJ Reed because I couldn't do this list and not have DJ Reed on it.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I like Terrell a lot. I think Raheem Morris is going to be – I think Raheem Morris will be great for A.J. Terrell. The last 2 years have not been great. And I am officially to that point of I can't look at the fact you were elite 2 years ago. Why have you not been the last 2 years? Mm-hmm. But he would have been 14. I just wanted to cover that before we got out of here.
Yeah. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. Back to complete the full week tomorrow at noon right here on 92.9, 880, and 1400. We'll see you then.
Passionate care starts with respected and
clear.
Man, I hope you didn't just curse us by jinxing us right there.
And
we made it through 4 days. We should have just been cool like we were talking about a no-hitter.
Right.
Care facility for loved ones. Sandstone prides itself on unmatched staff and resident satisfaction. We set the standard for excellence in employment and compassionate care. Discover the Sandstone way online at sanstonehealth.com.
Woody and Wilcox. That's my favorite thing about bowling alleys is the little blower that helps you dry the sweaty hands.
No offense, you are out of shape if you're sweating while you're bowling.
I'm sweating just doing this. Rock 105.1, Asheville's real rock.
If you're a medical professional, business owner, higher income, or self-employed, a new federal rule means now through August 31st is the last chance for people that don't get tax credit subsidies for lower premiums to lock in real health insurance at lower rates for up to 3 years. If you have marketplace, work, or healthcare ministry insurance, I'm talking to you. Hummingbird Insurance is offering free consults for quotes. There's no catch or strings. Get the free quote and decide. Hummingbird Insurance.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
There's a lot of talk about heroes these days.
Hey, buddy, you want to go fishing?
The folks in the funny outfits with superpowers and spandex.
All right, buddy, let me help you.
But at Ingalls, we know that a lot of our heroes
Now you look like a pro.
are a little closer to home. They're the ones who give us what we need for those everyday adventures. That's why we look
All right,
to the
I'll talk
ones
to you in the
who
morning.
count for us.
Okay, brother.
Have a good one.
Catch a big one.
You too.